Welcome everybody to the Cotuit Kettlers pregame show alongside myself, Zach Kaplan, East Ben Fisher. That's all baby with a laptop, as one once quoted. We're going to bring you right up to first pitch today as the Kettlers take on the Chatham Anglers here at Lowell Park. The dog days of summer continue on here ahead of All-Star Weekend coming up just down the road in Harwich on Sunday. The Kettlers with the game against the Anglers coming up just shortly, about 25 minutes from now. And then they're in Wareham tomorrow before they get a quick 36-hour break or so for the All-Star break. It's I guess that's about all you can really be permitted in the Cape League.
Yeah, no, there's, especially with all the rainouts, we've been losing scheduled off days left and right. So I think the three All-Stars, I'm sure, are excited to get to go play in the All-Star game in Harwich, but I'm sure the other all the other guys and the coaches are happy to sort of have that day off, stay home, maybe sleep in, and feel well rested. For similar to the MLB, where it's not even close to halfway through the season, but it's sort of a demarcation of, okay, now we're really into the push to the end of the season.
You mentioned the Kettlers with a lot of off days that were on the schedule that are no longer. That includes next Monday, which is the continuation of a fog-out game in Chatham at Veterans Field, the infamous Chatham Fog, which rolls right on in around it's on twilight, if you will. So the Kettlers will have to go back out there and make up Game 2 of what was a previously scheduled doubleheader back in June, if you can believe it. Feels like years ago now. The Kettlers will go out there and do just that on Monday. So they'll take on the Anglers twice here, and I guess that's about a 5-day span. So really familiarizing themselves with this 4-day span, actually. That's why we're not math guys, we're journalists. So there you have it. 2 games with Chatham, and then a game with Wareham sandwiched in between here as they get into the stretch run. Now let's talk about the Kettlers who clinched the pristine, picturesque Barnstable Patriots Cup yesterday with a 7-2 win over the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. So some bragging rights in the town of Barnstable over the course of the year. I know a lot of locals we were talking who said, yeah, you know, they kind of tried to make something of it. It's not really a thing, but it was trophy season yesterday, and the Kettlers have one to their name so far in the 2018 season.
Yeah, it's like I said, I was driving out of the park, and I saw Sam and Sam, our great broadcasters, getting into their car, and I leaned out, and I rolled down my passenger window, and I leaned over, and I went, Kettlers, 1 trophy. The rest of the Cape League, 0 trophies. So it's not necessarily a championship per se, but I thought that was a fun little metric. And yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how much really anybody puts value into it, but sort of, even if it's not sort of a sincere honoring moment, it is sort of a fun thing as a team when you get the trophy, even if they're sort of tongue-in-cheek celebrating, throwing it up over their heads, giving it to the Bat Boys, having them take pictures with it. Just that sort of stuff, even when you're not necessarily taking the trophy as seriously as maybe the creators intended, you still have fun with it, and it's still sort of exciting to get, and it's a way to have fun with your team. So I think, even not necessarily in the way it was intended as a sincere rivalry trophy, but I think it was definitely something that the players and the guys around the team really enjoyed having yesterday.
It's a nice photo. Also, you can check it out on our Instagram at Cotuit Kettlers and our Twitter as well. I know there were some tweets put out with the beautiful trophy. She resides here at Lowell Park now for the remainder of the next calendar year, I guess, until the next time that these two teams meet. Hyannis, though, they might have the last laugh. They're still first in the division while the Kettlers continue to try and make their way into the playoff race. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The Kettlers coming off the 3-3 tie on Wednesday and then the big 7-2 win yesterday. The offense started to wake up a little bit, and now I know Coach Roberts talked about it after the game. There's 2 good starts from guys who have not been making a lot of starts this season. Luke Chevalier last night, Zane Collins on Wednesday in Harwich. Kettlers finding some good pitching from some unlikely sources, and definitely in terms of the starters as well. Yeah, definitely, and I think these are the Kettlers starts we saw at the beginning of the season from guys like John Baker, who's obviously no longer here. We saw starts like this. We saw Zane in Wareham. We saw Chevy against Orleans in that crazy game with the Grand Slam. We forget about, with the Grand Slam and all the controversy, Chevy came out and he gave us 5 2-run innings. He allowed 1 home run, and other than that, he was pretty much flawless. So these guys had showed what they can do, and then gotten bumped to the bullpen, and maybe had struggled a little bit more, and then sort of they didn't necessarily in the bullpen show anything that made them necessarily win their spot back, but just the way the cookie crumbled, they ended up starting, and they threw great games. And much more importantly, not so much for Zane but for Chevy, was they got run support, and they gave 2 runs and 1 run for Chevy and 1 run for Zane. They're not necessarily the greatest starts in the world, and when you allow 2 and 3 runs, you're not going to win all of those games. But that's the definition of a quality outing by the pitching staff that gives the offense an opportunity to win the game for Cotuit. And I think they're going to need a lot of games where the pitchers don't lose the game and give the hitters a chance to go out and win it. So there you have it. Some nice pitching at the right time and some clutch hitting. That's in verbatim Coach Roberts' words, what he saw from his team yesterday as the Kettleers get back into a playoff spot, still tied with Bourne. They're jostling for 4th place. I know I was talking to one of the Bourne players a couple days ago. It seems like they don't really want it. They don't want it either. It seems there's back and forth. It's just going to be, as I've joked privately, who's going to not trip over their own shoelaces on the final day of the season, perhaps. Again, that home and home with Falmouth looking more and more important by the day as we go down the stretch here. Falmouth got a big win last night as well. We're going to talk about that in just a few moments. But first, let's talk about the teams out here today. So, of course, the Kettleers, they will look to Seth Schumann on the mound, the starting pitcher today. It's John Baker's not walking through that door. I know Anthony Veneziano's been having some arm trouble of his own, so he's not walking through that door as well. It looks like Seth Schumann will be on the mound from Georgia Southern. We've seen his stuff. He had a very good start the last time he was out on the hill, though.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely that's the kind of start you hope to get. But I think if he struggles, that's going to underline the importance of the starts you got before, where you didn't have to throw. We've had games where we've had 2 9-inning games in a row where you see 14 innings of the bullpen. And we went 12 innings, and we went the full on Wednesday, and we went the full 9 yesterday. And our bullpen is still in pretty good shape, which is really important because Schumann, he has the potential to give us a start like we saw from Chevy yesterday. 6 innings, 1 run, really hold it down and put his team in a great spot. He also has the potential, as we've seen this year, to throw 2 innings, put his team behind 5-0, and then turn it over to the bullpen. And so I think having those guys available out of the bullpen, having Shock available, having maybe Deacon available, having Joey Walsh available, that's a huge thing that was accomplished by keeping the offense in a good position and keeping the pitching going deeper into the game the last 2 days.
We'd be remiss if we didn't mention Ryan Leffner's effort out of the pen. It was amazing. In yesterday's game, only 2 pitchers needed, and then even in the 12-inning affair with Harwich, only used 4 pitchers. So really trying to conserve those arms as we get down the stretch here. As God Bless America blares behind us from some of our game day interns, let's get into the Cotuit starting lineup here. Of course, Schumann on the mound, and from top to bottom here, it looks like Will Robertson leading off playing right field, followed by Michael Tolia, the 2 spot in left. He got back to his hitting ways yesterday. We talked to him. He was really happy about that. He had talked to Brian Roberts, of course, former major leaguer, Baltimore Oriole for 13 seasons, and Mike before the game. Brian Roberts also a switch hitter, as is Tolia. So some much needed advice, and it clearly paid off. We'll see if that can continue today. Going forward, it's Dillard batting third, playing first base. Mike Salvatore, the cleanup spot, playing shortstop from Florida State. Garrett Woolforth back in the lineup today, the designated hitter in the 5 spot from Dallas Baptist. Duke Ellis in the 6 spot playing center. Corey Wood in the 7 spot playing second. Brady Smith back in the lineup at the 8 spot playing third base. And Zach Humphreys is behind the plate doing the catching for Schumann in the 9th spot. So Humphreys back in the lineup today. A couple swaps there. It seems like we're never going to get the same lineup 2 days in a row, but on paper, it seems like Coach Roberts starting to at least sort of figure things out, at least for the top part of the order.
Yeah, definitely, and I would say the 2 guys I'm circling today that I really think are important are, as you mentioned, Mike Tolia and then Zach Humphreys in that 9 spot. Tolia, we've seen like that 2-homer game he had here a couple weeks ago. We've seen those flashes of the player that we know he can be, the player he was here last summer, and the player who was at UCLA, and the player that gets all the pro scouts excited, but he hasn't consistently been that player yet. So I think coming off a night like last night, where he was really tagging the ball, I think it's important for him to come out and have a good night tonight. And then Humphreys, I like he had a day off in Harwich. He was batting out of the 2-hole, which he's been hitting great. He certainly earned to move up the lineup, but I really like him down in the 9 spot, putting him in a place where he doesn't have so much responsibility to carry the lineup, putting him in a place where he doesn't have really any pressure because he's hitting 9th. But if he puts up a day like he can, he's had 2-3 hit games in the month of July. If he puts up, I like him in a spot where a game like that is a bonus and not an expectation, because he already has so much on his plate. He's so good defensively. He works so hard back there, and he's such a good game caller that I think putting the offensive pressure on him and making the offense rely on him is a little bit too much, and I think it puts your offense in a less than ideal spot, and it puts Zach in a less than ideal spot. So Tolia in the 2 spot I think is very important, and Humphreys in the 9 spot I think can do a great job rolling the lineup over. So I like that, and I think it's a really important guy to watch in the lineup tonight.
Now let's talk about Chatham. 16, 15-2 on the season, second in the Eastern Division, of course, behind YD, who is the standard bearer for the league, like we mentioned. So the lineup well, we'll start off with the starting pitcher here. Dan Hammer from a disgusting school known as the University of Pittsburgh, at least it's coming from me as a Penn State guy. Hammer on the mound today, and this is a guy that Kettleers have not seen so far, and they haven't seen a lot of Chatham to begin with, but they've not seen Hammer so far. A late addition to the all-name team, perhaps, but what can you tell us about his actual stuff?
He's been very good. He's not, I was talking to some of our game day guys who maybe know the repertoire a little better. They said he's not overpowering, fastball, changeup, slider. He's not anything we haven't seen before, I don't think. He's not throwing 100 like we've seen certain guys throw. He's not throwing, I think, a wipeout slider like we saw Graham Stinson throw. I know we talked about him a lot, but he's very good. He has a 1.22 ERA in 5 appearances. He's struck out 20, I want to say he's struck out 20 in 22 innings, and he's allowed only 15 base runners in that time. So he's very effective, which I think, again, as we mentioned, puts more pressure on that pitching staff. Maybe, I mean, we said yesterday we were going to see a high-scoring game, and then Hyannis came out and didn't hit. So I'm not even anything approaching a psychic, but this has the trappings of a game where Chatham isn't going to allow a lot of runs because they're throwing Hammer, who's been so effective. So he's not overpowering, but sort of like John Baker, he's not overpowering, but he mixes his stuff and he throws strikes. He gets ahead and he gets guys out. So I think really watching his stuff doesn't tell you the whole story with him. You've got to watch him put it together on the mound, working with his catcher, and then you see what a complete pitcher he is and why he's been so dominant in the Cape.
That's what he'll try to do today against this Kettleer lineup. Let's see the lineup that he'll have in the field behind him, behind the big Hammer. Too bad he's not Jewish. He could have been the Hebrew Hammer. But let's go through the lineup now. Blake Sable leading off, playing left field from USC. This kid batting .320 with 7 home runs and 20 RBIs, so he is a very good hitter for this Chatham team. Seems like they kind of like to put some of their better hitters up at the top of the order. So we'll see if they kind of employ a similar strategy that is to Cotuit in terms of lineup creation that Coach Roberts so notably does. Behind Sable, it's John Rave. Sable playing left field, by the way. John Rave in the 2 spot playing center field. Spencer Torkelson is back from Team USA playing right field, batting third. Torkelson's power is no small feat. We've talked to Colin Hassell about it from the Cape Cod Times. This kid is truly one of the, if not the best hitter in the league this season.
Yeah, he just absolutely crushes baseballs. He's the kind of guy where every time he comes up, everybody in the park who knows even anything about him is sitting up straight. And if he connects with one, even people who aren't paying attention, even the little kids running around behind the bleachers, they're going to turn around because he is impressive. He's imposing at the plate, and it's not just the appearance. He can hit. He doesn't strike out like as prolifically as a lot of power guys do. So he's out of that 3-hole. He is going to terrify people coming out to the plate. And the unfortunate thing is he's on a team like Chatham that can really hit. So you can't just pitch around him and work with the next guys because they're going to punish you no matter who you pitch to. But Torkelson is certainly option 1 for them in the lineup, and he has the potential to really take this game over by himself.
That kind of dynamic changing hitter, it's not often you can say that about a guy like Torkelson, but lo and behold, there he is. Batting in the 3 spot, playing right field is Torkelson from Arizona State. Following him up is Michael Bush, batting 4th, playing 1st. Colin Simpson batting 5th as the designated hitter. Greg Jones behind him, the shortstop. Ashton McGee, the 7th hitter, playing 2nd. Then Jorge Arenas, or is it George Arenas, I'm sorry, batting 8th, playing 3rd. He spells it Jorge, he pronounces it George. We'll have to ask him about that. And then Jake Taylor, straight out of Major League in the 9th spot, the catcher for the Anglers. A squad that has 7 players with multiple home runs on the season. That's one of the highest marks in the league. Seems like a team more predicated on their hitting, but can beat you both ways.
Certainly, they're an incredible offense in terms of balance. I mean, 7 guys with multiple home runs, and then they're 60 for 76 stealing on the season. No other team has more than 43 steals. So this team, they run a ton, and it's not like they're sending guys every single time they get on base because they get on base a lot. So 76 steal attempts is not sort of out of this world, but to steal at that high a percentage when you're going that much, it's a huge test for Garrett Wolforth in just his 2nd game behind the plate. In the Cape League, so it's gonna be a big test of Coach Jerry Weinstein if he's calling anything from the dugout. It's gonna be a test of Wolforth behind the plate. It's gonna be a test of Schumann on the mound, and it's gonna be a test for how well they communicate and how well even the middle infield and the corner infielders can work on sort of covering their bases, keeping guys close. So the base running, if they don't put one over the fence, that doesn't mean they're not going to get guys in because they can easily turn a walk or a single into a triple on just 2 pitches. They've done it before. I'm sure they'll do it again. They're very dangerous in the batter's box and on the bases. So this is going to be This is the team that has the potential, and they've done it a ton of times before this year, to not allow a ton of runs and then put up a ton of runs.
So there you have it with Chatham. Chance to really beat you in any number of ways. Death by base running, death by hitting, fielding, pitching, what have you. Kettler's hoping they won't be victims of that today. You know who was a big victim of that last night? The Brewster Whitecaps, the methodical punching bag of the Cape Cod Baseball League in the 2018 season. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 17 runs for the Chatham Anglers over the Whitecaps last night. A 17-3 ball game that only went 7 innings, and it really probably only needed to go about 3 to determine a winner. Chatham absolutely blowing the cover off Brewster last night. And, in some ways, it's good for Chatham to obviously come off such an offensive performance coming into here, but it kind of favors the Kettleers if you want to spin it a little bit here. We're not political people. We're baseball guys, at least for the summer. But, it's kind of good when you think about it. They've got all their offense, all their aggression out last night, so maybe the bats might be a little quieter today.
Maybe. I guess we could look at it as they punched themselves out against Brewster. Maybe, although on the flip side of that, we could say Brewster's playing long-term rope-a-dope with the rest of the league. They're going to sneak in at the end of the season, and they're going to take the whole thing. But I think I love that theory, and I love the optimism, but I really think the momentum means more than getting arm-tired from swinging the bat so much. So I think beating Brewster 17, obviously beating anybody 17-3 is impressive. And Cotuit, I know.
2 touchdowns.
It's 2 touchdowns. Cotuit's been an up-and-down team, but they're better than Brewster. They just, I think at this point it's not even up for, at the 3/4 mark of the season, it's not up for debate anymore. So I think it doesn't bode well for anybody except for Chatham, I think, that they put up 17. But if I'm wrong, and if Seth Schumann comes out and throws a complete game shutout, I will tip my hat to him, and more importantly, I'll tip my hat to you and give you all the credit. And I would hope Seth will do the same in the event that happens.
I highly doubt it. But be more the other way around here. But let's before we get into the standings, let's talk about the rest of last night's games here. YD beating Bourne 8-2, so a big win for the Kettleers because that kept Bourne from gaining any points, while the Kettleers obviously got the win over Hyannis. So they're now I believe the Kettleers are back in the playoffs by 1 point coming into today, and that's right, by 2 points rather. 31 points for the Kets versus 29 for the Bourne Braves. Elsewhere around the league, though, YD 8-2 over Bourne, like I mentioned. YD now clinching a playoff spot this early. I mean, it's hard to believe it. July 19th, and they are already good to go. So I got to ask with them, because in the real world, of course, you rest your starters, you get ready for the long haul. Do you kind of do that if you're YD, or you want to keep your guys going with Doshbach, Cotton, some of the sluggers they have?
I think it's tough. I think you certainly, with the pitchers, you're throwing your best pitchers less often, and you're throwing them for fewer innings. But the issue with your field players is this is a league where really, obviously, all leagues are about winning, and you can't play sports without the players. But leagues like this, above all else, above all other leagues, are about the players. In NCAA play, it's about the team. You're playing to compete and to try to win the national championship. This is a showcase league. These are guys who are only together for 2 months. So really, the players are the most important. So I think if you have guys who are willing to rest and willing to save it up for the playoffs, that's great. And I think with pitchers, that makes sense. But I think you only have a certain number of looks that the scouts are going to get at you. So I think if you have a guy who wants to be out there, and he's a guy like a Doshbach who's done a ton for his own stock this summer, and he says, Coach, I think that people are getting great looks at me. I think I'm earning myself potentially hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars every time I put one over the fence or put one in the gap. I think you got to leave him in there. And as a coach, that's incredibly tough, because these coaches, most of them have been around a long time, and they know how to win, and they work to win. But I think these players really do come first, which sounds bad and it sounds selfish, but I mean that's the point of this league, is for these guys to get looks. So I think it's a tough thing, and I would guess you're going to see pitchers scaled back, and you're going to see hitters keep right on playing.
And then in the other East versus West matchup last night, Falmouth defeating Orleans 8-2. The tough year for the Firebirds continues. They seem to be right there with Brewster. They're not really letting him get away here. Only 4 points up on the Whitecaps, so that's a 2-game win streak one way and a 2-game losing streak the other way. And then we're talking about a very interesting battle for the 4th spot, and a lot of shame on the Firebird side, because they had quite a cushion at 1 point. Elsewhere, the only other game was a East Division showdown, rather, Wareham, or Interdivision, excuse me, 6-1 over Harwich last night. The Wareham Gaben defeating the Mariners at White House Field, so a big win for them as they try to keep pace with Hyannis. And now we look at the standings. Speaking of Hyannis, they lead the Western Division still by 1 point, 40-39 point-wise. They're 19-11-2 versus 19-13-1. So really going to come down to the wire for that one spot in the West. And Falmouth follows them up with 35. They seem to have a clear cushion on that 3 spot. The Kettleers with 31 in the 4 spot. So if the season ended today, we'd be talking about a playoff series with Hyannis. It's some Barnstable Patriot Cup feud right there. So, some beef up there. And then Bourne with 29 points trails the Kettleers by 2. A win for Bourne today gets them right back into things with the Kettleer loss. Now, YD clinching their playoff spot with 44 points, still tops in the league. Chatham 10 back of them now, 5 games back if you're counting, with 34. Harwich another 2 games back of them with 30. And then Orleans 25 and Brewster 21, like we mentioned. So it could really come down to the wire there. We're just about ready to send things up to our broadcast booth. But first, we'll go over tonight's games really quickly for you. Brewster will be at YD. I'm sure the spread is about 5.5 runs for that one. YD got to be heavily favored there. And then Orleans at Hyannis, so another interdivisional game right there. Bourne at Wareham, a big West Division showdown. Braves really need a win, and they're going up to Spillane Field, where not many opposing teams have found wins this season. And then Falmouth at Harwich, an interdivisional game. Both the Harwich and the Wareham game starting at 6:30 tonight. That'll just about do it for us. We're just about ready for first pitch as our umpires come out, and we are set to go. It's the Anglers, it's the Kettleers, and it's time for some baseball. Let's send it up to our broadcast booth where Sam Niederman and Sam Brief have the call. Guys, take it away.
Zach, thank you so much. About 10 minutes away from first pitch between the Kettleers and the Anglers. Thanks so much to our beat writers, Zach Kaplan, Ben Fisher, for a wonderful pregame show as always. Hard to believe, after today, we only have 5 more home games left this season where you can listen to those 2 before the game. But let's preview this one. Sam Brief, Sam Niederman. It's the 3rd matchup of the season between Chatham and Cotuit. The Kettleers on top in the season. Kettleers lifting some hardware. They beat the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 7-2 to take the Patriot Cup and win it for the 6th time in 7 seasons. Luke Chevalier was awesome on the bump. The Kettleer offense got going hot and heavy early on. 4 runs in the 2nd inning, 3 runs in the 5th. And it was a celebratory day here at Loa Park. And Sam, for the Kettleers, they've got to carry some of that momentum into today's game. It was really the first time in a couple days that we've seen the offense carry the load early on. A lot of times waiting. But yesterday, the 2nd inning, they got going.
A great chance. A 4 spot back in that 2nd inning, and it was all powered by Garrett Wolforth in just his 2nd start. The Kettleers coming up big with the bases. This is built to come back. Kettleers not really a comeback team. Pitching needs to be sturdy early on, and the bullpen is good enough to hold down the fort late. So that's the winning formula, and when this offense goes, that's how the team goes. And it was good to see them have a good output yesterday.
A few highlights yesterday offensively from an individual standpoint. Garrett Wolforth got the scoring started, his 2nd start of the season. He had that 2 RBI double in the bottom of the 2nd to really get the Kettleers going. And then also Michael Tolia and Duke Ellis got in on the party. Speaking of Michael Tolia, we caught up with Coach Mike Roberts before the game. He talked about the performance he saw from Tolia and much, much more. Take a listen.
Down here on the field with head coach Mike Roberts. And coach, yesterday we chatted about Michael Tolia and some of the adjustments we were trying to make him an angrier player. Yesterday he had 2 nice hits, 1 drove in a run. How do you evaluate his performance?
Without a doubt. I think now we'll wait and see whether this can happen on a regular basis. And so I'm moving up to 2 in the order today, and we'll find out.
Luke Chevalier was a big part of yesterday's win, going 6 innings, only allowing 1 run. The story has just been so cool to see unfold this season with a local kid finally making a start in Lowell Park yesterday to get that win over Hyannis. So what's it been like developing him and watching him bloom as a Cotuit Kettleer?
Well, certainly I knew Luke almost 15 years ago, about 15 years ago, when I began my tenure here, and his whole family. So is it really enjoyable to see a young player who up here but have success in the league. And that's the most important thing. There's a lot of young players that have gone on Cape Cod and gone on to college baseball that can play here, but you want them to have a chance to have success. And, he's been up and down a lot. And, yesterday he combined his fastball, his breaking ball, his changeup, and even dropped down under one time in the 1st inning. And he knew I would like that. But he had a really good ball game yesterday, and so Zane Collins, Chevalier, and left as well. Those three guys have picked us up the last 2 days.
And Coach, now 32 games into the season, what do you see as the identity of your team right now?
I don't know that I ever try to identify the team. I kind of let them identify themselves and let you broadcasters and writers and fans kind of judge their identity. To me, it's just an everyday workshop of trying to help them to grow up, to be better people, to be more self-motivated, be mature, treat people the right way, and also improve their baseball game while they're here. So I'll kind of let you all answer that question as far as their identity. And right now, I'll use another word. I'd rather them be really intense, and then they can figure out their identity.
They can keep pushing that intensity button, right?
Absolutely, and I would like for it to be bright red.
We'll keep it that way. Thank you so much, Coach.
Okay, guys. You're welcome.
Down here on the field with head coach Mike Roberts. And, Coach, yesterday we chatted about Michael Tolia and some of the adjustments. We were trying to make him an angrier player. Yesterday he had 2 nice hits, 1 drove in a run. How do you evaluate his performance?
Well, without a doubt, I think now we wait and see whether this can happen on a regular basis. And, so I moved him up to 2 and we'll find out.
Luke Chevalier was a big part of yesterday's win, going 6 innings, only allowing 1 run. The story has just been so cool to see unfold this season with a local kid finally making a start in Lowell Park yesterday to get that win over Hyannis. So what's it been like developing him and watching him bloom as a Cotuit Kettleer?
Well, certainly I knew Luke almost 15 years ago, or about 15 years ago, when I began my tenure here, and his whole family. So is it really enjoyable to see a youngster who grew up here not only play in the league but have success in the league. That's the one important thing is I think there's a lot of youngsters that have grown up playing on Cape Cod and gone on to college baseball that can play here, but you want them to have a chance to have success. And he's been up and down a lot, and but yesterday he combined his fastball, his breaking ball, and his changeup, and even dropped down under one time in the first inning, and he knew I would like that. But he had a really good ball game yesterday, and so Zane Collins and Chevalier and Lefner as well. Those three guys have picked us up the last 2 days.
And, Coach, now 32 games into the season, what do you see as the identity of your team right now?
I don't know that I ever try to identify the team. I kind of let them identify themselves and let you broadcasters and writers and fans kind of judge their identity. To me, it's just an everyday workshop of trying to help them to grow up, to be better people, to be more self-motivated, be mature, treat people the right way, and also improve their baseball game while they're here. So I'll kind of let you all answer that question as far as their identity. Right now, I'll use another word. I'd rather them be really intense, and then they can figure out their identity.
See if they can keep pushing that intensity button, right?
Absolutely, and I would like for it to be bright red.
We'll keep it that way. Thank you so much, Coach.
Okay, guys, you're welcome.
Down here on the field with head coach Mike Roberts. And, Coach, yesterday we chatted about Michael Tolia and some of the adjustments we were trying to make him an angrier player.
Yep, we're coming back.
Yesterday, the Kettleers got to lift some hardware, winning the Patriot Cup for the 6th time in 7 years. And today, against the Chatham Anglers, the Kets will look to keep the momentum going on a beautiful Friday here in Cotuit, Military Appreciation Friday. So the bright red jerseys for the Kettleers. Of course, we here in Cotuit thank all of those who have served or are currently serving in our military. This is the 3rd matchup of the season between the Kettleers and the Anglers. The first was back in Chatham at the end of June, a 6-1 win for the Kettleers. The second of which was back here at Lowell Park, a 4-3 win in 11 innings on a Bo Brundage walk-off home run to start the 11th. So we've seen some fireworks, some home runs from these two sides when they get together. The Kettleers 9-6 against the East this season. 9 of their 14 wins are against the East, so they'll look to improve that total against Chatham. And let's get you the starting pitching matchup for today's game. It's a good one. Seth Schumann, the righty out of Georgia Southern, a returning Kettleer, rising junior on the bump for Mike Roberts. He's 1-2 on the season with a 3.37 ERA, 14 strikeouts and 5 walks. He gets the starting nod for the 5th time this season. Opposite him is the starter for the East in the upcoming All-Star game, Dan Hammer, a junior at Pitt, also a returner. He was with Chatham last year. He's been dynamite, a 1.23 ERA on the season. His last start was a week ago at Orleans. He went 6 innings, scoreless ball with just 3 hits. That's our starting pitching matchup. Now let's get you the Chatham lineup to go up against Seth Schumann. And they're led by Tom Holliday in his first season in Chatham. And here's their lineup. Blake Sable, he's in left field leading off. In center field and batting second is John Rave. The right fielder, Spencer Torkelson, who has just returned to the Cape from his tenure with Team USA. He gets the start in right, batting third. Michael Bush is at first base, batting cleanup. In the 5-hole, Colin Simpson, the red-hot Colin Simpson. He's the DH today. Greg Jones gets the nod at shortstop, batting 6th. Ashton McGee is the 7-hole hitter, playing second base. Jorge Arenas is batting 8th and at third base, and Jake Taylor wraps it up in the 9-hole. He's the starting catcher for Tom Holliday's Anglers. And now the Kettleer defense behind Seth Schumann around the horn. Brady Smith gets the nod at third base. Mike Salvatore, the shortstop for Cotuit. Corey Wood at second base, and Thomas Dillard is back at first base. Battery mate Garrett Woolforth, his second consecutive start at catcher. He rose from bullpen catcher to starting catcher, and he gets the nod today. In the outfield, Michael Tolia in left, Duke Ellis in center, and Will Robertson in right field for the Kettleers, who are led, as always, by Mike Roberts in his 15th season with the maroon and white. First matchup of the day is Schumann and Sable. First pitch is skied high. Foul on the left side. Brady Smith, the third baseman, tracking over. But it's out of play and a quick 0-1 count. And the Kettleer defense starting out with a shift against Blake Sable, the tall lefty out of USC. He's been a power menace this season. 7 home runs. That's tied with Nick Osborne of Orleans for the most on the Cape. 0-1 from Schumann to Sable, a bit outside, ball 1. Underway between Chatham and Cotuit. A beautiful sunny Friday, 77 degrees, sunny, slight breeze blowing out. The 1-1, grounded right into the shift. Thomas Dillard picks it, underhand toss to Schumann, and there's a quick out number 1 of Blake Sable here in the top of the first.
Good job by the Kettleers and Mike Roberts early against the leadoff man, employing a shift with 3 on the right side. Thought that might have been Corey Wood's ball, but Thomas Dillard stole it from him in front and made a nice little toss over to Schumann, who hustled to cover the bag for out number 1.
It's John Rave now to go up against Schumann. Pair of lefties at the top of this lineup against the righty Schumann, who steps in and digs in for strike 1. Schumann this season has been a shutdown pitcher against lefties, hitting just 161 against him. Righties above 300. We'll see how that plays out today as ball 1 comes in. A 1-1 count for John Rave. Kettleers 14, 15, and 3 on the season, 4th in the West. Swing and a miss there for strike 2. Chatham 16, 15, and 2. They're second in the East, 10 points behind the YD Red Sox, who last night clinched a playoff berth. Here comes the 1-2 to Rave. Swing and a miss. It's some high cheese. Strike 3 as Seth Schumann sits him down, and there's 2 away here in the first.
Good job, Seth Schumann going up the ladder and away from John Rave. 2 outs quickly against a very potent Chatham offense coming off of that 17-run performance last night against the Brewster Whitecaps. You know their offense is hungry, and a lot of it has to do with this man who's back in the lineup.
Spencer Torkelson just back in Chatham, digs in and takes ball 1. Torkelson, rising sophomore at Arizona State. He was the NCAA home run leader last year with 25. Here's the 0-1 to Torkelson. High and tight for ball 1. The Kettleers know him well. The 6-1 win back in Chatham at the beginning of the season. Torkelson tagged Deacon Metters for a mammoth home run to left field. 1-1. Cracked, left side, right to Brady Smith into the shift. He gathers, throws across the diamond, and there's out number 3. So against a pesky top of the Chatham lineup, Seth Schumann goes down in order, 1, 2, 3, and we will head to the bottom of the first, still in a scoreless tie, 0-0 between the Kets and the Anglers, here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back to Lowell Park. Happy to have you along for the ride. 0-0 between the Kettleers and the Anglers. And after Seth Schumann worked a perfect 1, 2, 3 top of the first, we enter the bottom of the first, featuring Dan Hammer, who's going to be the all-star pitcher, the starting pitcher for the East in a couple days. Out of Pitt, he's 6'2", 200 pounds, a righty junior out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His numbers this season are dirty, 2-0, a 1.23 ERA. He struck out 20 and walked just 3. And Dan Hammer, big number 8, will face this Kettleer lineup that scored 7 runs yesterday to win the Patriot Cup against Hyannis, and it looks like this today. Will Robertson starting in right, he'll lead off for the second consecutive game. Michael Tolia moves up in the order. He bats second, and he's in left today. Thomas Dillard in the 3-hole playing first base. Mike Salvatore, the shortstop, batting cleanup. Garrett Wolforth moves up all the way to the 5-hole. He's the catcher. Duke Ellis in center field, batting 6th. Corey Wood, the second baseman, batting 7th. Brady Smith is in the 8-hole. He's the third baseman. And the DH today is Zach Humphreys, batting in the 9-hole, another all-star for the Kettleers. And Dan Hammer pitching to his battery mate, Jake Taylor out of Oklahoma State, with the black and orange cowboy catcher's gear. And here's the defense behind Hammer. Jorge Arenas, he's at third base. Greg Jones at short. Ashton McGee at second base. And Michael Bush at first. That's an all North Carolina Tar Heel right side of the infield. Outfield looks like this. Blake Sable in left. John Rave in center. And Spencer Torkelson in right. Corner outfielders. A lot of pop, a lot of power for Tom Holliday's Anglers. Got you set. Here's Will Robertson to face off against Dan Hammer. First pitch from Hammer is taken at the knees outside for ball 1. Uniforms today, Kettleers just for the second time this season in the bright red Military Appreciation Friday uniforms. It's a bright red uniform with the Cape Cod Baseball League logo across the front, white numbers on the back. Chatham in the traveling royal blue uniforms, gray pants, script Chatham trimmed in red across the side. And the Chatham A's cap, a blue cap with the red A logo and a bright red brim. Here's the 2-0, swung on, cracked on the right side, through for a base hit. Will Robertson, the leadoff man for Cotuit, tags the base hit, and the Kettleers in business.
A very nice start for Will Robertson in that leadoff spot. He's so accustomed to batting in that spot in the order this season. But if you actually look at the numbers, as the first batter up in the inning, just in one individual frame, he's batting less than 100. Which is kind of a head scratcher because he's performed so well overall this year, but he does a great job there turning on a first pitch or a fastball there in that at bat with some good power to get on with a leadoff single.
Here's Michael Tolia now. Tolia batting from the left side against the righty Hammer. Runner on first. Here's the pitch. Swung on and smoked, but foul on the right side. Just past first base coach Paul Widener. We get Widener out there today. We've seen a revolving door of sorts at first base coach. Usually Brady North. He's done every game this season except for now 2. And we can only imagine Coach North will serve as the bullpen catcher today, with all of the catchers available in the lineup. 0-1 outside, ball 1. That was the case Tuesday against Harwich when Garrett Wolforth, Thomas Dillard, Zach Humphreys, Brady Smith, all the available catchers were in the lineup. Brady North, who's had never caught before, got a glove, got some catcher's gear. and was the bullpen catcher. Here's a ground ball, foul at the feet of Paul Widener. A 1-2 count with a runner on first. No score in the bottom of the first on a beautiful day here at Lowell Park. Chatham red hot, coming off a 17-3 win yesterday against Brewster. That was 17 runs in just 7 innings. The game was called due to darkness. Here's the 1-2 to Tolia. He smokes it foul, this time on the left side. Clings off the fence, protecting the Kettleer dugout, and the count stays pat. Chatham earned a lot of offensive accolades in that game. The 17 runs tied the Cape League season high for runs. They broke the Cape League high this season for walks, 15 walks as a team, and 7 steals. That was the most this season. 1-2 to Tolia. Taken low, ball 2. A lot of Chatham's games this season have been blowouts, one way or the other. Coming in, they had the 17-3 win yesterday. The day before, they got smoked by Hyannis, 12-5. Just 2 games this year for Chatham that were decided by 1 run. 2-2 with the runner at first. Here's Hammer's offering. This time in the dirt, Taylor blocks it, and the count runs full. This is Dan Hammer out of the University of Pittsburgh, a returning pitcher for Chatham. Last year, he was just 1-3 with a 9 ERA in his 6 starts. This year, he's brought it down almost 8 points to 1.23. Full count to Tolia. Here's the pitch from Hammer. Runner going, swung on, and it's a high fly ball to center field. John Rave tracks to his left and makes the snag for out number 1, and the runner, Will Robertson, retreats back to first.
We talked with Coach Roberts before the game about the adjustments that they've been trying to make with Michael Tolia, and a lot of it has to do with his lower half, and that's how baseball hitting goes. All in the hips, really working on that left glute. So when he bats from the left side, his backside, getting it back through the zone and making him more of a pull hitter, and that time kind of a soft fly ball to left center field, and we'll see if Tolia can adjust as he did so perfectly yesterday.
Here's Thomas Dillard. First pitch he sees is a strike, 0-1 count. Yeah, we heard Coach doing a little private batting practice session before yesterday's game with Tolia, and he was yelling at him, "In your glutes, focus on the glutes." Yesterday, Tolia 2 for 4 with 2 hard hit singles, both to the right side. 0-1 to Dilly, this time low, ball 1.
Now here's a guy in Dillard who's been seeing the ball well as of late. Had an 11-game hitting streak coming into yesterday. Didn't get a hit, but he reached on a walk, so you can make it a 12-game on-base streak overall. Really making a nice home in this number 3 spot in the order.
1-1 to Dilly. High for ball 2. Dillard a .253 hitter on the season. 3 long balls and 15 batted in. The guy on first base, Will Robertson, just extended his home on base streak to 16 games. 2-1 count, 1 out in the bottom of the first. Here's a breaking ball from Hammer outside and a 3-1 count for Thomas Dillard.
Noticing a couple of things early on with Will Robertson at first. This has got Brian Roberts written all over it. A lot of the Kettleers were taking note on base running with Brian Roberts when he's been in town over the last week. And I'm looking at these Kettleers players. It started with Peyton Burdick yesterday. Notice how Robertson jabs that front foot, not even taking much of a lead. Then he gets off the secondary.
3-1, hit hard and high off to the left side. Charging over is the left fielder Blake Sable. And he just misses it foul. Count stays pat, 3-2. Tried to high point it, but it was too far out of reach in the shadows near the Kettleer bullpen. So it's a full count. Runner still at first. Will Robertson. Looked like for a second Robertson thought it might be fair. He was charging around second and then had to hold his horses.
It's hard to see from our vantage point because some of the fencing blocks our view, especially with the shadows down that left field line. But somehow that ball found its way down and foul ground. You live to play another day.
3-2 count, 1 out. The runner going in Robertson. The pitch swung on and slapped up the middle. It's down, a base hit for Thomas Dillard. Robertson charging into third. He stands up safe. Throwback to first in time to get the out. Thomas Dillard was rounding first. Chatham caught him off guard And the third baseman, Jorge Arenas, made a bullet throw to first. Michael Bush applying the tag to get Dillard. So a single, but then a 5-3 putout going back to the base. The important thing for Cotuit, however, is Will Robertson advanced to third. So with 2 outs, the Kettleers have a runner 90 feet from home.
I was about to say, impeccable base running tactics by the Kettleers, put on the hit and run on there with the full count. Robertson had a heck of a jump. He was already 7/8 of the way to second base when that ball was off the bat of Dillard.
First pitch to Salvatore. Sweeps outside. Check swing from Salvi. He went, according to Bob Gardner, our first base umpire. 0-1 count.
And then on the ensuing drop into center field, Robertson was able to take third. He had a good read on it, but then Dillard gets picked off over at first. Unfortunate break and a mistake on the base paths.
Robertson the lead at third. Here's the 0-1 to Salvi. Swung on, grounder up the middle. Diving stop by Greg Jones, the shortstop. He gathers, makes the throw, but it's not in time. Salvi safe at first. Will Robertson comes home to score, and the Cats have opened the scoring. It's 1-0 Cotuit.
Mike Salvatore has really been seeing the ball well in his last few games. Make it now 5 hits in his last 6 starts, at least 5 games where he's had at least a hit. And he can just get it up the middle there. Pretty good speed getting down the line, and it was a tough play for Jones, the shortstop, on the edge of the grass behind second base, and Salvi able to leg it out, and that's what getting that runner up to third base does for you. An early lead for Cotuit, right on schedule.
First pitch to Garrett Wolforth. Tracks inside, but on the zone. And it's strike 1. So the Kettleers score first for the second consecutive day. That bodes well for Cotuit. This season, when the Kettleers score first, they're 9-3. They've got a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first, and they might not be done. Salvi the lead at first. Pitch to Wolforth. Swung on and smoked. High fly ball to right, tracking foul, and it bounces at the feet of Spencer Torkelson, the right fielder. An 0-2 count now with 2 outs, as Salvatore, who's already at third base, will just cut through by the pitcher's mound on a trot back to first. Cats up 1-0, RBI single, an infield single from Mike Salvatore. Nearly a web gem on that play from the shortstop Greg Jones. And Will Robertson coming home from third. It's 1-0 Kettleers. 0-2 to Garrett Wolforth, the catcher. He was 1 for 4 yesterday, opened the scoring with a 2 RBI double in the second. 0-2, swung on, tagged into right field. It's down for a base hit. Now trouble in right. Torkelson lets it by him. Salvatore now wheeling around third. He's going to be waved home. Salvatore pulls up at home with the Kettleers' second run of the day. Wolforth at third, and the Cats on top 2-0.
Big break for the Kettleers there. You can score that a base hit and a big E9 on Spencer Torkelson of all people. That ball took a bad hop on him on the last second. He tried to body it up with his shoulder, but it goes over the shoulder and all the way to the wall. And that allowed Wolforth to get all the way to third. For a second, I thought Mike Roberts was going to say go
inside
for it
the
all.
park home run. And Torkelson, as you said, tried to use his body. He's got a big frame, 6'2", 210. But the ball skipped right over his left shoulder to the fence. Salvi scores easily. Wolforth now at third. Advancing on the error, so score that a single, and then advancing to third on the E9. Here's Duke Ellis now with the runner at third. He takes strike 1. So good for the Kettleers to get to Dan Hammer early. Remember, he's coming off a red-hot start at Orleans. He went 6 innings without giving up a run, 3 hits, and 4 strikeouts. He has already given up 2 here, although the last one wasn't earned. 0-1 pitch. Duke Ellis swings on it, sends a high fly ball to left. Blake Sable's under it. He makes the catch, and there's out number 3. But the Kettleers strike first. They get 2 runs on 2 hits from Mike Salvatore and Garrett Wolforth, and it's 2-0 Kettleers as we head to the second here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Cats on top, 2-0. As we head to the second, 2 runs on 3 hits for the Kettleers in that last frame. Mike Salvatore, an RBI single to drive in Will Robertson. And then Garrett Wolforth, the RBI single plus an error from the right fielder Spencer Torkelson, driving in Salvatore, and it's 2-0 Kettleers. They've got 2 runs on 4 hits. Still no action on the base paths for Chatham, which will feature Michael Bush, Colin Simpson, and Greg Jones in this inning. Seth Schumann, the starter for Cotuit, kicks and fires. First pitch in the dirt. Ball 1 to Michael Bush. We haven't seen Bush yet this season. Out of North Carolina, he's the starting second baseman today. He takes strike 1. He's got a royal blue bat. Looks like the same bat Spencer Torkelson was using. Exactly the same shade of blue on the Chatham helmets and uniforms. 1-1 outside for ball 2. I think that's a sharp look. The royal blue.
I do like it. I like it a lot. I think Chatham has some of the best uniform kits on the Cape.
2-1 from Schumann. Swung on, smoked on the left side, and this one is foul. Just barely foul. As Tom Carey, the third base umpire, holds his hands in the air. A loud strike, and it's a 2-2 count. So Michael Bush out of North Carolina. One of 3 Tar Heels on the Chatham roster. Came a long way to Chapel Hill, all the way from Minnesota. 2-2 from Schumann, swing and a miss. Again, some high cheese from Schumann. And again, the Anglers biting on it. That's 2 strikeouts. 4 up, 4 down so far for Seth.
It's good to see Schumann working with the fastball. That sits in the low 90s. His first start here at Lowell Park this season, and we've seen him plenty of times on the road. Pitching in the friendly confines here in Cotuit and getting batters out early.
Here's Colin Simpson. He takes ball 1. Simpson, the DH today out of Oklahoma State. And this man is on fire. Last time we saw him, his batting average was in the 100s as he skies this one in foul territory. Coming over the third baseman, Smith. And he makes the play. Brady Smith makes the catch right up against the fence. And there's out number 2 against a red-hot Colin Simpson. Good for Seth Schumann to get him out. In his last 29 at-bats, Simpson has 15 hits. He's on a 9-game hit streak. But he gets out there, and now Schumann, just one more out necessary with the Kettleers up 2-0 here in the second. Greg Jones, the batter. He digs in, takes strike 1, sporting the same royal blue bat. I wonder if it's still the same bat or if they've got a few in their arsenal. Here's the 1-0, or the 0-1. Swing and a miss for strike 2. Jones, the shortstop, out of UNC Wilmington. Speedy shortstop, leading the Cape in steals this season. Now Schumann kicks and deals. The 0-2 is swung on and chopped off to the left side. Diving stop Salvatore, but he can't make the throw. Just getting by enough to keep the ball in front of him. An infield single for Greg Jones, and that's the first hit of the ball game for Chatham.
Good effort by Salvi. I thought he was playing a little further in than we normally see a shortstop play this year. And that's why I had to take a deeper angle to try and cut back on that ball and make a diving backhanded play. And he was at least able to keep it on the infield, but never was going to make a throw.
Schumann checking on the runner with a throw to Dillard at first. It's 2-0 Kettleers, top of the second. Salvatore and Wolforth driving in the runs in the first. Now Chatham looking to respond. As Schumann wisely checks on Jones again. Remember, he's the leader. 14 steals on the season. Chatham is a team very aggressive. They've got 60 stolen bases this year. That leads the Cape by far. Here's the first pitch to Ashton McGee. It's a chopper to the right side, and it goes through the 5-hole of Corey Wood and into the outfield. Greg Jones speeds into third. And there's an error on Corey Wood. Runners at the corners now for Chatham, with Ashton McGee holding his horses at first. And now a big chance with 2 outs for the Anglers. Jorge Arenas up next. Out of Stetson. 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, from Miami, Florida. Starting third baseman for Chatham today. And sporting the same royal blue bat, he'll look to drive in their first runs. 2-out hitting has been the Kettleers' kryptonite from a pitching perspective. And now Chatham a chance to make him pay. Arenas steps in. First pitch to the righty outside, ball 1. Arenas this season a .239 hitter with 7 batted in. He's got the speedy Greg Jones at third. Ashton McGee at first. Schumann out of the stretch. Gets the signal from Wolforth. Now here's the pitch. This time pins it on the inside corner for strike 1, 90-mile-an-hour heat. One the count. 2 outs here in the top of the first. Kettleers look to preserve this 2-0 lead as Schumann steps off the mound for a double fake pickoff attempt. One. Slight breeze comes in over Lowell Park. And now the pitch. This time too far inside for ball 2. So Chatham offense quiet until Greg Jones reaches on the infield single. Ashton McGee on an error. And now the Anglers have a chance after scoring 17 runs in 7 innings yesterday. Can only imagine. 2-1 the count. Schumann taking a while. Now he deals. Swung on, chopper up the middle. This time Corey Wood gloves it and soft toss to first to get the out. So Seth Schumann faces his first jam. Runners on the corners, but no problem. He gets out of it, and his Kettleers still on top 2-0. And we'll be back with the bottom of the second. It's Cotuit Kettleer Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Two 2-0 Kettleers over the Anglers here in the bottom of the second. Welcome back into our broadcast booth, perched atop Lowell Park. Sam and Sam, Sam Brief and Sam Niederman, Mason Horodisky, Bailey Hewson up here in the broadcast booth, delivering you the broadcast wherever you're watching or listening, whether on YouTube or Comcast Channel 99 or Mixler. We've got you covered, and thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a very pleasant Friday evening. Look forward to a good weekend here on the Cape. Kettleers have Chatham today, head over the Cape Cod Canal tomorrow to take on the Wareham Gatemen, and then the All-Star break with the All-Star game coming on Sunday at Harwich. Strike one comes into Corey Wood, a 1 count. Seth Schumann faced his first jam with runners on the corners in the top of the first, got out of it with a ground ball as Corey Wood takes ball one in the dirt. Wood this season a .215 hitter, 1 home run and 5 batted in. He's tied for 5th on the Cape with 19 walks. Here's the 1-1 to Corey. Good breaking pitch. Strike 2. Wood leading off this inning. Sam was talking about Will Robertson's leadoff numbers when he leads a specific inning. Corey Wood this year a .357 hitter leadoff. And now he sends a ground ball on the right side, past a diving Ashton McGee. A base hit, we'll see that average go up. And again, the leadoff runner aboard for Cotuit.
I really like Corey Wood as an early hitter in the order or a leadoff man in this situation. Like you alluded to, Sam, the numbers speak for themselves. He just exemplified it there. This guy finds ways to get on base. Obviously one of the league leaders in walks. just a good little contact hitter with some decent speed as well on the base paths.
Now it's Brady Smith, the team leader in batting average, almost 300 on the season. Corey Wood takes his lead at first. Here's Hammer's first offering to Smith. It's in the dirt for ball 1. This is Dan Hammer on the mound, a returning angler, so his name might sound familiar if you followed the Kettleers last year. He'll start the All-Star game on Sunday. He's been lights out this season, but the Kets getting to him early. 1-0 to Smith. Tagged left field. It's a base hit for Brady Smith. And the Kettleers keep the line moving as Corey Wood advances to second. And there's a quick 2 hits to start the second.
Brady Smith has gotten off to a great start for the Kettleers. Good hit there. Just pulled it in the left. Hit it right on the barrel. And 2 more base runners for Cotuit here in the bottom of the second inning, already leading 2-0. A chance at the bottom of the order to turn it over to the big bats at the top.
Dan Hammer looking fidgety on the mound as he's getting roughed up so far. 2 runs on 6 hits. Still in the second. Corners of the infield come in. Middle at double play depth. Greg Jones, the shortstop, shaded way over to the bag. Now he retreats as Zach Humphreys tries to lay down a bunt, but it sneaks by him for strike 1. Dan Hammer's got the long gray pants, and in his pocket, according to him, is either a full piece of gum or a gum wrapper. According to the Pitt Athletic website, that's his superstition, that he always has to have a wrapper or a piece of gum in his pocket while he pitches. Now he steps off for an 0-1. I wonder which one he has today. I feel like you would want the wrapper.
I want the
gum
wrapper, yeah.
You leave that in when you do the laundry.
I thought, okay, that's kind of an interesting superstition, but
it's odd.
It's sticky if you have the gum.
0-1 to Humphreys. He lays down a nice bunt right in front of the catcher, Jake Taylor. His only throw is to first, and it sails over the head of Ashton McGee. Corey Wood will score easily. Brady Smith head up at third. Zach Humphreys at second, and the Kettleers take a 3-0 lead on another mistake from the Chatham defense.
That time, Jake Taylor just airmails the first baseman and Michael Bush. I mean, that one was about 15 feet up in the air, not even close. This has been a sloppy game on either side. 3 errors combined with the 2 teams on the field, and we're just in the bottom of the second inning. That time, Humphreys, who's arguably the best bunter on the Cotuit lineup outside Duke Ellis, all he had to do was get a sacrifice there, just a high bouncer in front of the plate. Taylor makes a bad throw, and another run comes home to score. This is what happens when you get good traffic on the base paths.
Still no one out. 2 runners in scoring position, Brady Smith and Zach Humphreys. It's the leadoff man, Will Robertson, at the plate. Pitch from Hammer, swung on, skied high, foul in the infield. Coming over is the catcher in Jake Taylor, but it bounces in the Kettleer dugout. Out of play, it's strike 1. So the Kets strike once again, 3-0 already. 3 runs on 6 hits, 2 errors for Chatham. That run coming in on an E2, error on the catcher, as Corey Wood comes home to score. Dan Hammer might want to throw that gum out of his pocket. This game has not started as planned for Chatham. 0-1 count. Will Robertson at the dish. The pitch is in the dirt for strike 1. Check that, ball 1. A 1-1 count. Brady Smith takes the lead at third. Zach Humphreys at second. Hammer out of the stretch. Here's his 1-1 offering, and this one clobbered but foul on the right side as it skips near the Chatham bullpen, and an angler pitcher will go out to grab the ball. Will Robertson requesting a new bat. Didn't look like he broke it, but motioning to the dugout to get a bat. It gets tossed out. Looks like a nice shiny black one. And it'll be his weapon of choice for this 1-2 count. 3-0 Kettleers here in the bottom of the second. Red hot start for Mike Roberts' bunch. Roberts pleased over at his perch at third base. He's got the Kettleer windbreaker on today. Not sure we've seen that this season. 77 and sunny. The coach wearing the maroon and white Kettleer windbreaker. 1 ball, 2 strikes, no one out, and 2 runners in scoring position. The pitch is outside. Ball 2. Michael Tolia on deck. Thomas Dillard in the hole. For a Kettleer offense that has started hot for its last 2 games when it really needed it most. They were down to 2 games under 500, looking to even the record up here. As Robertson takes this one in the dirt for ball 3. The Kettleers a game up on Bourne. Bourne right now last in the West. Remember, the top 4 teams in each division make the playoffs, so if the season ended today, the Kettleers would sneak in as the 4 seed and take on the 1st seed Hyannis Harbor Hawks in the West playoffs. Payoff pitch, Robertson. Slow tapper right in front of Jake Taylor. This one foul. And the count stays full. Ruby Firmbach saying that ball's no good. Getting a new one from the Cotuit Bat Boys. That's our umpiring crew. Ruby Firmbach, Bob Gardner, and Tom Carey in the Power Blacks. Runners take their leads at 2nd and 3rd. Hammer out of the stretch. Payoff pitch to Robertson. In the dirt, ball 4. And Dan Hammer walks the bases loaded. Michael Tolia salivating as he comes to the dish.
This is a great chance for Tolia with the bases loaded. Can really break this game open early with the Kettleers up 3-0 already. Another note on Robertson. Yeah, was going through a little bit of a slump, I feel like 10 or 12 games ago. Mike Roberts gave him an off day or 2, and ever since then, he's gotten back to his normal self. Getting on base with the walk that time, we've seen him do that a few days in a row now. More patient as a hitter at the plate, and it's always good to see.
Yesterday, he had a big 2 RBI single in the 2nd. Bases loaded for Tolia. There's the strike on the outside corner. It's Brady Smith at 3rd, Zach Humphreys at 2nd, and Will Robertson at 1st. Kettleers have a chance to pound Chatham into submission early in this ball game. Still no one out in the 2nd. Michael Tolia at the dish. The dangerous bat facing Dan Hammer. Here's Hammer's offering. Swung on by Tolia, and it's rocketed to the shortstop, Greg Jones. He keeps it in front of him and throws to 2nd for the out, but Brady Smith will slide in back door with the Kettleers' 4th run of the ball game. Chatham trades a run for an out, and it's 4-0 Cotuit. Runners on the corners, and another dangerous bat coming up in Thomas Dillard.
Unfortunate break for the Kettleers there as they roll that one a hit, but Greg Jones, who's pretty lanky as a shortstop, he's got some bunnies too. He went up and skied for that one, knocked it down with the tip of his glove, and was able to get the runner at 2nd base in Robertson, but nevertheless another run comes home. Had he not gotten a piece of that ball, would have been 2 runs for the Kettleers.
Dillard at the dish. Runners on the corners, 1 out. Big swing and a miss from Dilly. Strike 1. Zach Humphreys at 3rd, Michael Tolia at 1st. Already 4 runs for the Kettleers, who led Hyannis 4-0 yesterday after 2. And here a chance to make it more than 4-0. Hammer set. Here's his 0-1 offering. Swung on and clobbered foul. Over near the parking lot. 0-2 count. Great crowd on hand today on a beautiful Friday evening in Cotuit. 3rd base grandstand chock full of Kettleer fans. 1st base grandstand about 3/4 full. A lot of fans with lawn chairs up and down the 1st and 3rd base lines. A few fans beyond the outfield fence under the green trees. Here's the 0-2 to Dillard. He just fights it off foul. And the count stays pat. Sunny day in Cotuit. We've had a good run of weather. Looking at the forecast, if you take a look at the Cotuit weather, does not look pretty for next week. A lot of lightning bolts, a lot of raindrops for next week. But this week it's been all 70s, sun, very few clouds. And today another picture-perfect day.
Now, one source told me this morning that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday look like it's going to be sunny.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You actually look at the weather app, it says the same.
0-2 to Dillard. High chopper, right side. Here comes Ashton McGee. He's going to scoop and settle for the throw to 1st, which allows Zach Humphreys to come home to score. And the Kets up 5-0.
You know, I like to see this. RBI groundouts are something that we have not seen from Cotuit. That basically just means they haven't had enough base runners or haven't been putting the ball in play enough to have these kinds of small ball, fundamental, old-fashioned scores. And Thomas Dillard with just a high bouncer to 2nd. Nearly took McGee off guard. That was a bad bounce that took on him at the end. And another run comes home in this inning.
5-0 Cotuit as Mike Salvatore skies one high and deep into left field. And that ball is gone for a home run as it just sneaks over the fence. That one barely foul, and Salvatore sneaks it in fair for a home run. The Kettleers up 7-0. Everyone was kind of waiting on that one to see if it would be fair or foul. The call came in, fair ball, home run, Mike Salvatore, and Cotuit just blasting Chatham early on. It's 7-zip.
Look at Mike Salvatore. A high drive deep into left field, and he got all of it. Blake Sable gave up on that ball. The question was fair or foul. Tough for us to see, and how about it? It's on the right side of the foul pole, and that'll do for a couple more runs. 7-0 already.
A rout early on here at Lowell Park. Here's Garrett Woolforth. He takes ball one. We've had a few confusing home runs this year, to say the least, on that left field foul pole. Of course, Adam Oviedo's grand slam in Orleans, which appeared to be foul, ruled a fair ball. Zach Humphreys had a home run here at Lowell Park by that left field foul pole that was originally ruled a foul ball, but then reversed to a fair ball, which was the correct call. That time, no controversy, but everyone had to kind of wait a moment to see if it was fair or foul. And once it snuck over fair, it's 7-0 Kettleers. 2-0 to Woolforth is a swing and a miss for strike one. So how about this Kettleer offense? They had 7 runs yesterday against Hyannis, and here we haven't even finished 2 innings. It's already 7-zip. Hammer out of the windup finally. He'll kick and deal. Foul tip, and it's a 2-2 count. 2 runs in the first for Cotuit, 5 runs here in the second. Just an offensive explosion. Constant base runners in this inning ever since Corey Wood's leadoff single. And Mike Salvatore emptying the base paths with that 2-run blast. 2-2 to Garrett Woolforth. Grounder foul. And the count stays at 2-2. So how about this start for the Kettleers against a Chatham team coming off a 17-3 win? We know how good their offense has been. But the Kettleer offense today just on fire.
You'll take it. If you told me coming into today against the Eastern League's all-star starter that we'd have 7 runs and not even done with the second inning, be feeling pretty darn good.
There's a foul ball off the bat of Woolforth. And with it, the broken glass sound effect over the Lowell Park PA system. A nice touch. 2-2 count. 2 outs in the second. Pitch from Hammer. High, ball 3.
Dan Hammer just hasn't had his plus stuff today. He's been missing a few times. A lot of fastballs that the hitters have been able to catch up to, and that's been great. That's a big credit to Cotuit seeing the ball well and being aggressive at the plate, which is what they need early.
Here's the payoff pitch to Woolforth. High, ball 4, and this nightmare inning for Dan Hammer. A dream come true inning for the Kettleers will continue. Runner at first for Duke Ellis. The 9th batter to come to the dish in this inning.
How about it? The 9th man to come to the dish indeed. See what Duke can do. Had a nice little slice his last time flying to left field. It just didn't get down in time. He's got good opposite field contact hitting.
Woolforth takes his lead. Hammer once again out of the stretch. He kicks and fires, swung on by Ellis. This time another high fly ball, deep left field. Blake Sable tracking back, and he makes the catch right at the wall for out number 3. But the Kettleers, red hot. They tag the Chatham Anglers for 5 runs in this inning off of 4 hits, including a 2-run home run from Mike Salvatore. And it's 7-0 Kettleers over the Anglers entering the 3rd. We'll be back with Sam Niederman on the play-by-play here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Here we are in the third inning at Lowell Park, and the Kettleers with a 7-0 lead over the Chatham A's. Seth Schumann on the mound to face 9-1-2. The Chatham lineup starting with Jake Taylor as a right-hander from Georgia Southern deals away for ball one. Kettleers with a 5 spot in the last inning against Dan Hammer, who will be the Eastern Division starting pitcher in Sunday's All-Star game. Cotuit getting to him early. 5 runs on 4 hits, an error, and just 1 man left in the last frame. Capped off by Mike Salvatore's first home run of the season, a 2-run shot to deep left field. 1-1 to Taylor, in there over the heart of the plate. Called strike, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cotuit rocking the red here on this Military Friday. Red home uniforms with the white numbers. It's a breaking pitch from Shu, is low and in to even up the count. White pinstripe pants as usual, the maroon socks, and the camo caps with the Cape Cod Baseball League logo on the front. Schumann winds up. Here's his 2-2. Swung on and hit towards right center field. Robertson ranging over to his right to make the grab with 2 hands. The leadoff man retired here in the top of 3.
Shoo.
Shoo.
Shoo. We going with that?
Yeah.
Shoo.
That was Pete Flaherty who taught me that.
Shoo, I like that. I can get on board.
I love all these
Shoo.
pitcher nicknames that we have here in Cotuit.
Chevy, Vinny,
Shoo.
of course,
Bake.
non-pitchers, Dilly.
Now Blake Sable, who tails one Oppo out of play foul down the left field line.
Salvi, the home run today.
Ovi, Dilly.
Bird.
You can just keep on going for days. Kettleers with a shift. 3 on the right side of the infield to the left-handed batting Sable, who takes the slider low and in. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 out here in the third. Kettleers on top by 7 runs against Chatham. Schumann, the returner for his second summer, dealing in the 1-1, high and away with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Come up with these nicknames. Of course, Pete Flaherty, a longtime Cotuit fan, our GM liaison, one of 3, one with Paige and Dan, as there's a foul tip at home plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Sable. Him, Mr. Flaherty, his dad, Matty Ice, they've all got the lexicon of Kettleers nicknames.
I love it.
We'll go with Shu from here on out.
Shu's good. Shu's good.
The 6'1" right-hander kicking and dealing is 2-2, pierced through the left side of that infield. Would have been a routine ground ball to short, but instead a base hit for Blake Sable, who goes oppo against the shift, and a 1-out single for Chatham.
All right, so there's the argument against the shift. Is then you become susceptible to those. Sable, a good hitter. He's not just going to pull it. Waited on that one, sent a nice chopper. You said it best. Would have been a routine 6-3 putout, but a base runner for Chatham.
Now John Ray, the center fielder, with the infield playing straight up, man on first and 1 out. Schumann out of the stretch. First pitch fouled back into the parking lot. 7-0, Kettleers on top. 2 in the first for Cotuit, 5 in the second. RBIs from Tolia, Dillard, and a 2-run shot from Mike Salvatore. 0-1 to count on Ray, batting from the left side. Fastball in there at the belt from Schumann to get ahead in the count. 0-2. Sable, the 1-out single at first base, held on by Dillard. Mike Salvatore, the shortstop, is shading a little closer to the bag at second. Corey Wood, the second baseman, at normal depth, so about a half double play alignment for the middle infielders. Schumann comes set up right. The right-hander with the glove at the letters, now to the plate. The 0-2 just whipped back foul behind home plate. Rave 0 for 1 today, struck out swinging his first time up. Center fielder from Illinois State. The Redbirds in the middle of Illinois, your home state. And you don't make it down there too much from Chicago, don't you?
Never been to Illinois State.
The 0-2 is ripped foul down the right field line.
That's in Normal, Illinois.
Yep.
Can't say I've ever been there.
Dab in the middle.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Right near Champaign, home of the Fighting Illini.
That's on 39, I believe. And a shrug from my partner, Sam Brief.
I know only the highways in the Chicago area. 90, 94, 41, 294.
What about 88? Isn't that one? 80?
I think 80 and 88 are when you go a little further out east. 80 is when you're like exiting the city towards Indiana, I think.
Gotcha. The 1-2 lifted in the air, high and deep to right field. It's a home run for John Ray. Chatham answering here in the third. A 2-run blast for John Ray, his 4th of the season. And that will make this ball game 7-2.
Well, he goes to school in Normal, but that one was far from normal. Will Robertson knew it right away. Just a few steps back. That one sailing over the Chatham bullpen, clearing the fence. And some life for Chatham.
John Ray strikes all the way to the visitors' bullpen, deep in right field. Will Robertson knew it right off the bat. Only took a few steps. And Chatham cuts into the Cotuit lead, a 5-run game here in the top of the third. Now Spencer Torkelson, always dangerous, back from his Team USA tour. Shift on the infield, 3 on the left side. Schumann's 0-1 pitch, just missing the inside corner, a 1-1 count. 1 out here in the third, Kettleers, a 7-2 advantage. Rave putting Chatham on the board with a 2-run home run. Here's Hughes 1-1. This hit hard into left field, a base hit for Spencer Torkelson, who will keep the bats going, and the Anglers look to be waking up against Schumann.
How about this for Spencer Torkelson? Now he has a 14-game hitting streak that spans 2 months. He left the Cape back on June 24th to play with Team USA. Came back just a couple days ago on July 17th. So that's the longest 14-game hit streak I've ever heard of, and he just smoked that one. That guy is a stud. I think he'll be an MLB All-Star one day.
He takes his lead at first, making way for Michael Bush at the plate. Good changeup on the outside corner from Schumann for strike 1. Torkelson, another single, the 3rd of this inning with just 1 out here in the inning for Chatham at the plate. Kettleers leading by 5. Another left-handed bat and Michael Bush at the plate. First baseman from North Carolina takes low, 1-1 to count. Torkelson, who is one of many Cape Leaguers who went out to the USA Collegiate National Team, started in 11 of 12 games with Team USA, registered a .286 batting clip, playing against some of the top international talent around the globe. It's now a 2-1 count on Bush. 92-mile-an-hour heater missing low and in. Good crowd at Lowell Park. Beautiful clear skies overhead. 77 degrees on this Friday evening. Schumann looks back at Torkelson, who retreats back to the bag. Dillard, the man holding on over there. Of course, Torkelson, 5 home runs on the season, 18 driven in. Those numbers, even while he was away with Team USA, held up in the top 5 for quite some time. He's still tied for 2nd in that home run category. The 2-1, Bush able to nip it foul at the plate.
And he'll go up against his teammate Blake Sable before the All-Star game for the Home Run Derby. Sable leading the league with 7 home runs, but Torkelson, 25 last year, is just a freshman. My fake money, my monopoly money is on him.
Taking his lead over there at first. Now to Bush, chopped on the ground, through the right side of the infield, another base hit. Torkelson will jog all the way into third, standing up. It is a single from Michael Bush, and the Anglers with runners on the corners, still just 1 out in this 3rd inning. And Seth Schumann will look to calm down, and Jerry Weinstein, the pitching coach, knows he needs to take it at a little bit of a breather here, and he'll come out for a mound visit.
Good response by Chatham. Down 7-0, easy to put up the white flag, but it's early in the ball game, just the 3rd inning, and this is an offense with a lot of pop. They can score in a hurry.
7-2 our score. The Kettleers with a big lead. 5 runs spotting them back in the 2nd inning. But Chatham wasting no time. They scored 2 already in this frame. John Rave, the 2-run home run to right field. 4 consecutive A's hits after the leadoff man and Jake Taylor was retired. And Chatham with runners at first and third, 1 out, third inning. And Colin Simpson coming to the plate, working on a 9-game hitting streak, 0 for 1 today after fouling out to third. First pitch to him, hit in the air, foul on the left side. Salvatore, the shortstop, shading more towards the second base bag. There's a big hole on the left side of that infield. Dillard also holding on at first. As Corey Wood plays straight up at second, the outfield is straight up. Schumann with the tan mitt, kicks and deals. His 0-1, missing at the shins. A ball and a strike to Colin Simpson from Oklahoma State. Designated hitter today. He was 2 for 4 with a triple and 5 runs driven in that 17-run onslaught against Brewster. Batting from the left side, open stance for the big fella. Gripping the bat with the blue and red Franklin gloves. Big cut and a miss. Nice slider down and in from Schumann to get ahead in the count. 1-2.
Best way to quiet down the bats, give them something they can't hit. Just got a few pitches in there, get these guys calmed down.
Runners taking their leads at the corners. 1 down here in the inning. Schumann looking to put him away as the 1-2 is punched into center field. That drops in, another base hit. 5 in a row for the A's as Torkelson comes home to score. A 3-run third inning with just 1 out here on the board. And the Anglers make it a 4-run ball game. The RBI single, Colin Simpson.
Wow, Simpson still red hot. Extends that hitting streak to 10 games. And Chatham with a really solid response. Still a lot of time left in this game. 7-3 is a very competitive ball game, and they still have a chance. The big guns in their lineup, top 5 of this order, up there with the best in the Cape. Sable, Rave, Torkelson, those guys can all rake it, and they certainly are doing that here.
Infield at double play depth, 1 out and 2 on for Greg Jones, who takes a hard fastball on the outside corner, strike 1. Jones, the speedy shortstop, legged out an infield single his first time up. 250 batter on the year, 3 home runs, 9 driven in. From Cary, North Carolina. Batting from the left side as the right-hander Schumann deals in. His 0-1 spiked up, a breaking ball blocked by Wolforth, who keeps it in front, and the runners stay put. Quiet Kettleer crowd here at Lowell Park as now some activity in the Cotuit bullpen down the left field line. Looks like Matthew Gauthier, the right-hander out of NC State, is stretching and tossing. Jerry Weinstein, the pitching coach, has already come out for a mound visit in this inning. Seth Schumann, the starter, trying to get out of this, still with a 4-run lead. 2 on, 1 out, a 1-1 pitch. Off speed in there, nice changeup on the outside corner as Jones looks at it for strike 2. It's Brady North who's the bullpen catcher today. Paul Widener is the first base coach for Cotuit. North, the normal first base coach. A lack of catching depth now as Garrett Wolforth is the starting catcher. Blocking an off-speed pitch, a 2-2 count now on Jones. And that means Brady North has to go down into the pen and warm up with the bullpen pitchers.
And it really is incredible how many guys who can play catcher are in the lineup today. 4 catchers for Cotuit, Dillard, Humphreys, Wolforth, and Smith all in the lineup.
The 2-2, swing and a miss. Big strikeout on a changeup there. As Schumann able to retire Jones for the second out of the inning, and boy, did he need that.
He really did. Stop the bleeding, 5 consecutive hits, 4 singles, and a home run. And a good pitch low and away.
Schumann going with the off-speed there, as there are now 2 down for Ashton McGee. Another left-handed bat, second baseman from North Carolina, waves and misses at an off-speed pitch in the dirt. Check swing is confirmed by the third base umpire Tom Carey. 0-1 the count. Runners on first and second. 7-3 ball game. Cats on top. Chatham with 3 home here in this top of the third inning. Anglers high-powered offense that came into today's game. 5th in the league in batting. 4th in OBP and 2nd in slugging as there's a high fly ball deep to right field from McGee, but playable in the gap. Duke Ellis, the center fielder, will come on to make the play for the final out of the inning. But the Anglers respond, a big one at that. 3 runs on 5 hits, no errors, and 2 men left as we head to the home half of the third. Cotuit still in control, 7-3 on the Chatham A's. We'll be right back in just a moment here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back at it here in Cotuit, bottom of the third inning, and the Kettleers will try and re-extend their lead, up 7-3 on Chatham. The A's bring home 3 in that last half of the inning, and Cotuit a chance to respond. The right-hander Dan Hammer still on the hill for Chatham, and it will be Corey Wood to start things off, the same man who led off an inning in the last Kettleers chance at the plate that produced 5 runs. 9 men came to the plate. Hammer the first pitch, down and in for ball 1. Defensive changes all out the wazoo for the Anglers here in this inning. Blake Sable moves from left field, and he's now the new catcher. Michael Bush, formerly at first base, is the new left fielder. And Kyle McCann comes off the bench to play first base, and he'll get a look at it here as a ground ball to second is a bad throw there from Ashton McGee, taking McCann off the bag, and Corey Wood will reach base, the 3rd Chatham error of the day, to allow the leadoff man aboard here in the bottom of 3.
I was just going to say that if you have 2 errors through 2 innings, I guess the best thing to do is shake up your defense. But then about 2 seconds after I was going to say that, we get another error. What a messy start for Chatham. Without these errors, plus the offensive production we saw from Chatham in the top of this frame, this could be a really competitive ball game. But Cotuit a chance to keep pouring it on.
Now Brady Smith, who takes an off-speed pitch for strike 1. Wood reaching on the air to reset the Chatham defense. Sable is now behind the plate. Bush is in left field, and Kyle McCann off the bench, the new first baseman. After all that, that means that Jake Taylor is no longer in the ball game. The 0-1 from Hammer. Cracked high, deep to left field. Brady Smith, see you later. A 2-run home run here in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and the Kettleers offense on fire here at home to respond to Chatham 9-3. Brady Smith, his first Cotuit home run of the summer.
So Brady Smith gets his first home run, Mike Salvatore gets his first home run, and it's just been a party here at Lowell Park. Interesting to see Dan Hammer still in the ball game after giving up 7 runs on 7 hits to start the game. Now 9 runs through just 2 innings for the Kettleers. And I see no sign of them stopping.
The Kettleers offense will say, keep it coming, give me more.
I don't even see anyone warming up in the Chatham bullpen.
2 more coming home here in the 3rd. Brady Smith, a 2-run home run to deep left field. Make it 9 runs on 8 hits today against the starter Dan Hammer, the All-Star, that'll get the call on Sunday to represent the Eastern Division at the All-Star game in Harwich. And the Kettleer offense getting up and rising to the occasion. 9-3 our score. Nobody out in the bottom of 3. It's Zach Humphreys, the 9-batter at the plate, an 0-2 count. Hammer's 2-strike pitch, little liner, soft at second baseman Ashton McGee, who gloves it for the first out of the inning.
Well, this is fun. This is a lot of what I think the Cavaliers have been missing. Last time we had hits like this consistently strung together was that 7-run 8th inning last Tuesday against Orleans. And this offense just awakening here with runs in every inning so far.
Will Robertson at the plate. First pitch swinging with 1 out and nobody on. A high fly ball down the left field line that'll carry out foul. Foul ball, Will Robertson, an 0-1 count. Dan Hammer, the right-hander from Pittsburgh, Pitt University. 6'2", a rising junior, came into today's game with a 1.22 ERA, but the Kettleers have touched him up early, up 9-3 here in the third. The 0-1, high at the letters for ball one. Of course, Hammer, we talked about his superstitions. Likes to pitch with either a piece of gum or a wrapper of gum in his pocket. 1-1 high and away to Robertson as Will gets ahead in the count. It's always nice when the athletics pages, the SIDs, go with a nice rundown, kind of an elementary get-to-know-you worksheet. And we found out his favorite Disney movie character is Tarzan. How about that as Robertson takes a strike away, 2-2.
And that was also, if he could be a Disney character, it would be Tarzan. So he wants to, not only is Tarzan his favorite, but he would embody the life of Tarzan if he were in that movie.
Hammer's 2-2 is grounded towards second. McGee takes it on a bad hop and will throw over to McCann for out number 2. So this guy wants to swing in on a vine then.
Oh, God.
He should go down to Eldridge Park and get to the jungle.
Yeah, he should. What about you?
Disney character?
If you could play a Disney character in a movie.
Okay, well, I'll just go with kind of a cheap answer. We kind of talked about this, you and I, off the air. I like Woody from Toy Story.
Oh, right.
That's kind of who I've always
You
identified
are kind of a
with.
Woody. You're peppy. You're optimistic.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Another ground ball to second base from Michael Tolia, except McCann, the first baseman, will swoop in front. Toss on to Hammer, who covers the bag, and that will end the inning here in the third. But the Kettleers tack on 2 more. Brady Smith, his first home run of the season to drive in Corey Wood. And it's 9-3, Cotuit on top as we head to the fourth here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park, top of the fourth inning, and Cotuit with a lead against the Chatham A's. Eastern Division foes in town on this Friday evening, 9-3 the score. Kettleers turning to their starter, and Seth Schumann, the right-hander, dealing into Jorge Arenas, who takes a fastball off the plate for ball one. Anglers with 8-9-1 due up in this frame. Arenas, and then be followed by McCann, Kyle McCann. Late substitute in this ball game as Arenas skies one towards right center field. Robertson comes over to make the play for out number 1. So now batting in the 9 spot, Kyle McCann. The first baseman who was substituted in the bottom of that third inning as a defensive sub. He now bats for Jake Taylor. First baseman out of Georgia Tech, 6'2", 215 pounds, a rising junior who will bat from the left side with 1 away here in the fourth. The Kettleers with a semi-shift on as Salvatore shades more towards the second base bag at short. He's a swing and a miss at a nice slider from Schumann, 0-1 on McCann. Couple of Georgia kids here. McCann from Georgia Tech, native of Suwanee, Georgia. And Schumann from the Deep South in Valdosta as he misses low with a breaking pitch through the 5-hole of Woolforth. 1 ball and a strike. Of course, Schumann, a Valdosta kid with Georgia in his blood. His dad, Bart, played baseball at Valdosta State, winning the 1979 NCAA Division III championship. As McCann takes a little fly ball that'll spill into left field, opposite field base hit. McCann thinking about extra bases, but will pump the brakes about halfway to second and turn back, a 1-out single. So McCann comes on. His first appearance at the plate, a good one. And that'll turn it over for the top of the order. Blake Sable, the leadoff man, to dig in. 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored back in the third. Schumann's sister Sloan was a 2-time national champion cheerleader at Valdosta State. One of the Division III powers down in the Gulf South Conference. Travel all the back rows if you ever end up doing any of those D3 games. As Sable cuts and misses at a good slider. Shu's got his off-speed stuff working after having his fastball hit around a little bit in that 3-run Chatham third. The Kettleers answering back with 2 more in the bottom of the third. Brady Smith's first home run of the season, making it a 9-3 ball game. 0-1. Hard changeup on the inside corner. Strike 2 on Sable. The big left fielder out of Southern Cal, batting for the left side with the rec specs on, tall at 6'4". Twirling his bat. Runner on with McCann at first and 1 out. The 0-2. The other batter's box, first ball of the at-bat. Of course, Sable has really come on, a .320 batter. That's good enough for 5th in the Cape League. Tied for first in home runs with 7. He'll be in the home run derby during the All-Star festivities on Sunday in Harwich, and he takes one for the team there. Slider that runs in on the shins, a hit batsman in Sable with a 1-2 count. He'll jog on down to first base. Now 2 runners on for the Anglers here in the fourth. So McCann moving up to second, Sable down to first. The number 2 batter and John Rave will come to the plate. As Garrett Woolforth, the Cotuit catcher, comes out from his perch behind home plate, signaling to his infield, making sure everybody's on the same page defensively. Kettleers up by 6 here at home. Gorgeous day for baseball against the Chatham A's for the 3rd time this year. Cotuit a 2-0 series lead already. First pitch to Rave. Check swing. Called strike behind the plate. Nice changeup that dips down in the low part of the zone. Rave, his last time, starting the Chatham scoring, a 2-run shot to deep right field. 1 for 2, officially on the day, with 2 runners on here. The 0-1, skied, deep right center field. Ellis ranging over to his left and center. He will make the catch. Runner tagging from second and McCann. The throw will be cut off at second base. Fly out to center field for John Rave, advancing the runner and McCann to third, and 2 down here in the fourth.
Ellis electing not to try and gun the runner down at third, although we've seen him do that this season. It was last week against Bourne, a throw from deep in center field to get the runner. He's got a cannon, a really good defensive center fielder. He was a nice addition. Kind of timely for the Kettleers when Bo Brundage left. When he signed the contract with the Tampa Bay Rays, coincided somewhat with Duke Ellis coming to town.
Now first and third for big Spencer Torkelson. Shift on the infield, 3 on the left side as Schumann misses low for ball 1. Dillard is the first baseman and the only infielder on the right side, and he's occupied holding on Sable. Runner at third, Kyle McCann. Now a throw over to check on Sable. Just routine as he dives back in safely. 2 down here in the top of 4. Kettleers 9, Anglers 3. Now field shifting over a little bit to the left. Ellis towards that left center gap. Schumann from the stretch. Runner going with a 1-0 count, and it's fouled near the right side foul line, and that's going to get down before the right fielder and Robertson could make a play on it. A 1-1 count. Big Spencer Torkelson, 1 for 2 today, a single back in the third with a run scored. Wears the high socks, the stirrups actually. Gray pants with those blue stirrups. Big and strong, batting from the right side here with the royal blue bat. Schumann slings over another pickoff towards first as Sable dives back in safely. A lanky leadoff man for Chatham on first. Actually has some good speed. He's pretty big and tall, but that's why Tom Holliday likes him in that leadoff spot. First and third with 2 outs. Shift on the left side. Here's the 1-1. Big rip and a miss from Torkelson as Schumann beats him upstairs.
Torkelson's swing is scary. Such a big guy. He crouches down in a sort of low stance. Gets so much momentum on that ball. And in today's game with so much emphasis on launch angle and kind of golfing it out, he has a pretty even level swing. But he gets all of the ball when he gets a hold of it.
Time called at the plate by catcher Garrett Wolforth. And now we'll reset. Torkelson digging in, slightly open stance, very athletic with the blue New Balance cleats. Schumann from the stretch, runner going and Sable. It's a pitch out. Wolforth throwing down to second, and Wood now has him in a pickle. But Dillard loses his handle. The relay back to second, and Sable able to slide in safely. The runner stays put at third. Kettleers sniffed the runner going with a pitch out. Wolforth threw down to Wood at second base. Sable was a deer in headlights, but a bad relay from second to first as Dillard kind of muffed it, and that allowed Sable to go down to second safely. So Chatham stays alive on the base paths here in the fourth. 2 in scoring position now for Spencer Torkelson at the plate. 2-2 count, 2 outs, a shift on the left side of the infield, and a 9-3 Cotuit lead. Schumann set, glove at his chest, looks in with the camo hat. Now the 2-2, just fouled off the end of the bat behind home plate.
Yeah, Sable was like Harry Houdini there escaping, but only if the Houdini straitjacket had like a broken zipper or something and he could just get out easy. The Kettleers giving him a big assist. With the error, it's been a messy game. 5 errors. Just 3.5 innings in.
They'll rule out an error on Dillard. 2 errors for Cotuit, 3 for Chatham. Here in the top of 4. 2-2 tailed off foul again by Torkelson. Little battle going on. The right-hander Schumann against the right-handed bat and Spencer Torkelson. Rising sophomore out of Arizona State, leading the NCAA in home runs this past season with the Sun Devils. He had 25 of them. He's already got 5 here in the Cape League. An abbreviated stint when he had to leave for Team USA. One of those came against the Kettleers.
And that was his last game. Left town right after that. The Kettleers won 6-1, and he said, all right, I've had enough. But now he's back.
He looks to do more here. His team trailing by 6. Cotuit trying to hold on to this big lead. Second and third, 2 outs. Schumann deals the 2-2. Hit in the air towards left center field. That ball down and under the glove of Ellis, and it'll roll to the wall. 2 runs come home to score. Spencer Torkelson delivering, doing what he does best. A 2-out double to drive in 2 more, and Chatham pulls back within 4.
When he hits the ball, it's just such clean, pure contact. That's just a drive into left center field. He picks his spot so well. Such a good, powerful hitter, and he's really keeping Chatham afloat. 8 hits already for the Anglers. They've tagged up Schumann nicely. But that's why the Kettleers got all that pad with 9 runs through 3.
Chatham back down by 4. 9-5 ball game for Torkelson's 2 RBI double. Next batter is Michael Bush. First pitch to him on the outside corner, strike 1. The official scorer rules that an error on Ellis in center field. That ball would have been extra bases anyway, but it skipped under his glove near the wall and took a short roll, allowing the second runner to come home and score. 0-1 the count to Bush. Runner on second, 2 outs here in the fourth. Schumann missing wide, a 1-1 count. So already 6 errors combined here in this ball game. 3 on each side. Rather messy, lots of hits, lots of offense in the Kettleers when you whip all of it up, leading 9-5. But Chatham on their heels. The 1-1. Fouled off on the left side and out of play by Bush. So Dan Hammer, the starter for Chatham, coming into this game, a sub-2 ERA, an Eastern Division All-Star. The Kettleers roughing him up for 9 runs on 8 hits. And Schumann, pretty steady arm, giving up 5 runs on 8 hits here. 2-out base runner on second. 1-2 just off the plate. A check swing from Bush, but he does not go around to even the count. So Schumann, who is 1 strike away from getting out of this inning clean, unable to finish off Torkelson, who drives in 2 with the double. He's on second base. It's Bush at the plate now, batting from the left side. 2 outs, a runner on second, and a 2-2 count. Schumann to the plate. Drive deep into left field, as Ellis, the center fielder, will range into the gap and make the catch for out number 3. But Chatham still hanging around in this ball game. Torkelson, the 2-run double to cut it to a 4-run game. But 2 is still in front as we head to the home half of the 4th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Home half of the 4th inning, and the Kettleers leading Chatham 9-5. And the Kets chasing out the starter of this game for Chatham. Dan Hammer's day is done. The right-hander going 3 innings, allowing 9 runs on 8 hits. And a new man out of Tom Holliday's pen, another right-hander, Troy Miller, who deals in a first-pitch ball to Thomas Dillard. Miller from the University of Michigan, wearing number 16, 6'4", 215 pounds, a rising senior. His 1-0 spikes up to the plate, a changeup. 2-0 the count on Dillard. Miller into the ball game, his 9th appearance of the season. A 0-0 record, 1.30 ERA. 20 2/3 innings pitched this season, allowing just 9 hits, striking out 24 batters opposed to walking 7. There's a 93-mile-an-hour fastball over the plate for strike 1.
And it might come back to bite Chatham that Dan Hammer was left in the ballgame so long. Because the 7 runs, of course, were great through 2 innings. But what might make the difference is those extra 2 runs from Brady Smith to make it 9-5 as opposed to 7-5, a much more competitive ball game.
A full count here on the leadoff man, Dillard. Mike Salvatore and Garrett Wolforth due up after him. Bottom of 4, Kettleers up by 4. Miller out of the pen, winding up. Right-hander's full count pitch, called strike 3, and a nice curveball as Dillard goes down looking for the first out of this 4th inning.
Not only the first out of this inning, the first strikeout of the game for the Kettleers. That's been the key. If you're not striking out,
good things are happening.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could fly out every time, but you want to hit the ball hard. The Chatham defense has gifted the Kettleers a few runs with the 3 errors, so just don't strike out. hit the ball hard. There's your formula. That's why the Kettleers have 9 runs in the 4th.
Well, this man on the mound is one to strike out batters in Miller. That's his 25th and now 21 innings pitched on the season. No 1 count on Salvatore, who fouls one back down in an 0-2 hole. 1 out here in the bottom of 4. Kettleers 9, Anglers 5. The Kets jumping out in front, 2 runs in the first, a 5-run second, capped by Salvatore's 2-run home run, his first of the season. Takes a curveball upstairs for ball 1. Chatham answered in the 3rd with 3 runs of their own, scoring on 5 consecutive singles with just 1 out. The rally was eventually stymied. And the A's coming back with 2 more in the visiting half of this 4th inning. Spencer Torkelson a 2-run double. So that making it a 9-5 game after the Kettleers put up 2 in the bottom of 3. Skipped over that part in the game recap. Of course, Brady Smith, the 2-run home run. Another called strike on Salvatore. This time a fastball on the outside corner. And Troy Miller bringing some heat out of the Chatham pen. 2 consecutive strikeouts to begin this bottom of the 4th.
This guy looks solid. Sharp overhead delivery. Picking his spots well. Just freezing these Kettleer Kettleer hitters with the 2 swinging, looking strikeouts. Now we'll see if Woolforth can get to him. He's reached twice today.
Garrett Woolforth, RBI single back in the first. A walk his last time up as he loops that one foul down the right field line. 2 down and nobody aboard. Bottom of 4. Kettleers a 9-5 lead at home against Chatham. The Dallas Baptist catcher and Garrett Woolforth at the plate, making his 3rd start of the season. The 0-1 running inside. We mentioned earlier how Brady North, the typical first base coach for the Kettleers, is now the bullpen catcher today. Paul Widener handling the first base coach duties. That's because Woolforth was activated a few days ago. He takes a breaking ball inside for strike 2, 1-2 count. Woolforth came up here from Dallas Baptist once they wrapped up a run to the NCAA Regional in Fayetteville. Worked his way as a bullpen catcher and finally activated on the 30-man roster. What a story. And he came up big yesterday with the 2 RBI double. Now he figures to platoon with Zach Humphreys, who's the designated hitter for today in the Kettleer lineup. And Woolforth figures to be a big piece in the rest of the summer. Swing and a miss. Another nasty curveball from Troy Miller, who comes on in the bottom of the 4th for Chatham and strikes out the side. 9-5. Kettleers still in front as we head to the 5th. Sam Brief back on the play-by-play when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Back at it from Lowell Park. Pitching change for Cotuit with the Kettleers on top. 9-5 in an early barn burner here in Cotuit. And Matthew Gauthier is the new pitcher. He comes on in relief of Seth Schumann, who went 4 innings, giving up 5 runs on 8 hits and striking out 3. Matthew Gauthier out of NC State, a Canadian at 6'2", 170, a righty and a junior. He's had 7 appearances on the season. 3 strikeouts for the Kettleers, and Gauthier will try and hold this 9-5 lead. And it's the 5th inning, so let's get to our 5th inning trivia. Tomorrow, my partner Sam Niederman will give me the trivia question.
We're turning the tables.
So turn the table, see if I can go a perfect 1-0 on the season. But for today, still me delivering the question. And our question today about the man we had in the booth yesterday, Brian Roberts, former All-Star, 2-time All-Star with the Baltimore Orioles, the son of our head coach Mike Roberts, joined us in the booth for a lovely interview. And he is the subject of our question. So in 2005, one of his 2 All-Star seasons, Brian received AL MVP votes for the first time in his career. An excellent season offensively for him, hitting over 300. He received votes but didn't end up winning, as Gauthier sends a first pitch to Colin Simpson, who hits it high and far, deep right center field. That one way gone as it disappears into the trees over Will Robertson's head. Leadoff home run on the first pitch for Colin Simpson. It's a 3-run ball game.
Well, before we get to the trivia, Sam, let me just say, hang on for dear life, because this game is going to be
wild.
a roller coaster.
This is wild.
9-6 already, not even an out here in the 5th inning. Matthew Gauthier just getting tagged up by Colin Simpson, who is on a tear lately, making a 10-game hitting streak. He's already got 2 driven in on this ball game. Going to be a battle of the bullpens against a couple of offenses that are feeling it. And, of course, we know how potent Chatham is. The Kettleers still up by 3, but it feels a little closer now.
Another note on Colin Simpson, then we'll return to the trivia. Coming into this game, Simpson had scored or driven in 20 of the last 60 Chatham runs. A third of the runs, and he's already driven in 2 today. So 9-6 now. Let's get back to the trivia. So Roberts got AL MVP votes in 2005, didn't end up winning it. So the question is simple. Who won the AL MVP that season in 2005? Swinging strikeout there for Matthew Gauthier of Greg Jones, now 1 out here in the 5th. 4 options for you. Was it A, David Ortiz of the Boston Red Sox, B, Manny Ramirez of the Boston Red Sox, C, Vladimir Guerrero of the LA Angels of Anaheim, or D, Alex Rodriguez of the New York Yankees? Here's the ground ball to second, fielded well by Corey Wood. Ashton McGee grounds out, now 2 away in the 5th for Jorge Arenas. You can head over to @Cotuit Kettleers on Twitter, answer the question. We'll give you the answer in the 8th. Sam, early thoughts?
This is a great question. It's simple. It's very marketable for our Twitter audience. Of course, you can take to Twitter @Cotuit Kettleers and answer the question, have a crack at it. Everybody knows these 4 players, especially if you're a Red Sox fan. I like how you crafted this one. Anybody's got a 1 in 4 chance. It's all pretty straight up. I am going to, my initial thoughts are I'm going to eliminate the 2 Red Sox guys. Is it A-Rod or is it Vladdy? And I'm going to be thinking, can I guess right now?
There's no limit.
I'm going with C, Vladdy.
C, Vladdy.
Give me Vladdy.
All right. 1-1 to Jorge Arenas. Good breaking pitch that drops in for strike 2, and Gauthier just 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning. Gave up a home run on the first pitch to Colin Simpson. But looking to go 3 up, 3 down after that as he sends in ball 2.
I'll give you more reasoning in the bottom half of the inning because there's 2 outs and 2 strikes here, and we're probably going to get out of it here. But I have special reasoning for why I'm going with Guerrero.
So Sam going with C, Vladimir Guerrero. You can take to the polls. Use your right to vote. Here's the 2-2. High for ball 3.
Exercise your right.
Yeah.
It's free. It's on Twitter.
All you need, you don't even need a Twitter account. Twitter.com/Cotuit Kettleers. Give us your thoughts. Payoff pitch, ripped into left field. Down, it's a base hit for Jorge Arenas. An absolute smoker over to Michael Tolia in left. And with the 3-2 count, Jorge Arenas delivers another man on for Chatham. Now 10 hits on the day for the Anglers. They've scored 6 runs on 10 hits, 9 runs on 8 hits for the Kettleers. And now back to the bottom of the lineup with Kyle McCann, who came in as a pinch hitter in the 4th for Jake Taylor.
This is starting to feel like one of these World Series games that we had with the Astros and the Dodgers. So much offense, a lot of home runs, and back and forth.
Wild pitch blocked by Woolforth, and Jorge Arenas is going to advance to second. The throw coming late from Woolforth. Feels a little like the All-Star game maybe with the home runs.
Or
Already
even if you want to go with the recency effect,
4 home runs, of course 10 home runs during the All-Star game. We're on track for about 10 today. Not sure if we'll make it that far. Here's the 1-0 to McCann. Outside corner, Gauthier gets the call, strike 1. It's 9-6. We're not even halfway through. Kettleers on top, runner at second is Jorge Arenas. He takes the lead, 1-1 count. The pitch, dips down low, ball 2. Let's hear your reasoning, I'm curious.
All right.
Vladimir Guerrero.
Back in the day, and I hope maybe you got a chance to play this game too, because I love playing it. MLB Showdown, the card game.
Oh, I never played. Swing and a miss there for strike 2.
My friends and I in the neighborhood would play this for a few summers in a row back when I was in elementary going into middle school. We loved the game. It was made in 04, 05, and 06, and it was disbanded after that. But in that 05 season, I think I can remember.
And there's a punch out for Matthew Gauthier on the inside corner. He gives up a leadoff home run to Colin Simpson. And then a single to Jorge Arenas, but 2 strikeouts for Gauthier, and he preserves the 9-6 lead.
Well, I just remember in that 05 season, I think I remember the card for Vladimir Guerrero having the MVP icon, which means if you roll the dice, it was a dice game, and if you roll the dice, it got, say, an out, with the MVP, you could retract it and get a roll again.
So you're going off your memory here.
Yes.
Your photographic memory. You think you saw MVP, so you're going with
it. And
it.
the game was made in 04 and 05. And so I want to say that it's Vladdy. That's what I'm going to go with. But it could very well be A-Rod as well. A-Rod is scaring me for the trivia, too.
We'll see how it turns out. You can take to the polls at Cotuit Kettleers on Twitter. And we will be back in just a few moments for the bottom of the 5th. It's 9-6 Cotuit here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back into Lowell Park. It's 9-6 Kettleers. As we head to the bottom of the 5th, Duke Ellis will lead things off for Cotuit, followed by Corey Wood and Brady Smith. As strike 1 dips in, Troy Miller, the pitcher. He struck out the side in the 4th, coming on in relief of Dan Hammer. And here's Miller's 0-1 offering. It forces a swing and a miss for strike 2. Miller coming in red hot, a 1.30 ERA on the season. Looking for his 4th consecutive strikeout here. Troy kicks and deals. Swing and a miss. A 3-pitch strikeout for Troy Miller. He has 4 of them in 4 batters. And his next opponent will be Corey Woods.
This kid's on fire. Are you kidding me right now? 4 for 4 with strikeouts right out of the pen. That's advent of the relief pitcher at its best. This kid's a fireballer, good fastball. Kettleers middle of the order running into a buzzsaw here. See if the offense can pick him up because Chatham is charging hard. Still a 3-run ball game. Everybody's hitting the ball. Now it's going to be up to which bullpen can really clamp down, and Troy Miller is doing his part early for the Anglers.
If you just joined us, you might be wondering how we got here. With 15 combined runs and 18 combined hits in the 5th as the 2-0 comes in. 2-0 count for Corey Wood. The Kettleers were up 7-0 after 2 innings. 2 runs in the first, 5 in the second, capped off by a 2-run home run from Mike Salvatore. So at that point, 7-0. Chatham responds with 3 in the 3rd. A John Rave 2-run home run being the key play. 2 from Cotuit in the bottom of the 3rd off of a home run from Brady Smith. And then 2 runs in the 4th for Chatham. Spencer Torkelson with a double. As ball 4 comes into Corey Wood, a 4-pitch walk. So you won't see that one too often. 4 strikeouts, capped off by a 3-pitch strikeout. And the next batter gets a 4-pitch walk. Corey Wood now at first. And then Chatham scored 1 in the 5th on a home run on the first pitch of the inning by Colin Simpson. So here we are, a crowded line score, 6 runs on 10 hits with 3 errors for Chatham. 9 runs on 8 hits, 2 mistakes for Cotuit. Runner on first for Brady Smith. He takes a first pitch strike. Fans, remember, you can answer our trivia question. Go on Twitter, take to the polls at Cotuit Kettleers. Our question about the 2005 AL MVP race, when Mike Roberts' son, who joined us here in the booth yesterday, Brian, got some votes, didn't end up winning, so our question is simple. Who won that year? David Ortiz, Big Papi, Manny Ramirez, Vlad Guerrero, or A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez? Sam going with C, Vladimir Guerrero. We'll give you the answer in the 8th. 1-1 count, Miller against Smith. The pitch, and it's skied high and foul. A 1-2 count.
Leave it to Corey Wood to stop an opposing pitcher out of the bullpen who struck out 4 consecutive batters and work a 4-pitch walk, making now 6 consecutive games that Corey Wood has reached base successfully for the Kettleers.
How about the guy at the plate today, Brady Smith? He scored 2 runs, has a single and a home run today. 1-2, 1 out. Miller's going to throw to first for the pickoff. That's Kyle McCann at first. Came on in a defensive substitution. And the count stays 1-2. Smith in the sun, Miller the pitcher in the shadows. He's going to turn to first and fire. Corey Wood just back in the nick of time. Kettleers in the Military Appreciation Friday bright red uniforms, camo caps, the normal white pinstripe pants. Just the second home game on a Friday this season. So just the second time the Kets have worn those. 1-2, outside, ball 2. Blake Sable is the catcher. His throw back to Miller goes wayward. And Miller will have to go over to second base to pick it up. Something that I think I told you earlier in the season used to always happen to me as a Little League pitcher. I was actually a decent pitcher, but my biggest fear when I would come into the game was that I wouldn't be able to catch the ball coming back from the catcher. And if I would only catch about 2 in every 3, going up until like 5th grade. Here's the 2-2 to Smith. Good breaking pitch that drops in, called strike 3. Brady knew it right away. That's 5 strikeouts in 6 batters for the red-hot Troy Miller.
Yeah, he's really feeling it. That breaking pitch is what's been doing it. He's got a hard fastball, but you combine it with that curveball, it's devastating for hitters, and Brady had to go down looking there and see if Zach Humphreys can keep it going. On your Little League pitching fears, though, dude, I got to say it, man, that is bad. 2 out of every 3?
Yeah.
Dude, that's bad. I'm sorry.
I was a good pitcher. I could locate my spots. I was
I
the
bet
stopper.
you were.
But I just couldn't catch the ball. That was my
Oh,
kryptonite.
my goodness.
Here's Zach Humphreys. He tails the first pitch foul. I was also a horrible hitter. I think I had a fine on base percentage because I would get on via the walk or the hit by pitch.
Were you short so you had a tight
I was
zone?
tiny. I was
so
tiny.
you had that
Very
tight zone, yeah.
But I could never make contact. I remember once my parents were so happy, treated me like I won World Series MVP after I hit a ground ball back to the pitcher just for making contact. As the 0-1 for Humphreys dips low for ball 1. Because I couldn't make contact, couldn't catch the ball. But I could pitch. Boy, could I pitch.
I'm sure you could, man. You just have to eliminate the fear. Don't fear.
This guy can pitch. Troy Miller, 5 strikeouts through 6 batters. He's got a 1-1 count with 2 outs. Corey Wood at first. Here's a great curveball, 72 miles an hour. Drops from Humphreys' eyes to his belt for strike 2. Humphreys, the 9-hitter. He's reached once today on an error in the 2nd. Ended up scoring and driving in a run on that play. 1-2 the count, 2 outs here in the 5th. It's 9-6 Cotuit. This pitch outside, another curveball, too far outside. It's ball 2. Just over halfway home in this one. And it's been a crowded game on the base paths, both offenses. just exploding. Miller will check on the runner. Around the Cape, no scores in any of the games except for at Red Wilson Field, in what could go down as the most surprising results in the last couple weeks. The last place Brewster Whitecaps up 7-0 on the first place YD Red Sox in the top of 6. 2-2 to Humphreys, way high for ball 3.
Would have saw that coming.
Brewster 9-22 on the season in the gutter. YD 20-9 on the season. They just clinched a playoff spot. But 7-0 Brewster. Payoff pitch incoming. It's a 3-2 count with 2 outs and a runner at first. Here it comes, and it's way high. Ball 4. Good at-bat work from Zach Humphreys. And the Kettleers still in business. 2 runners on, 2 out. Top of the lineup coming up in Will Robertson.
I've been impressed with the Cotuit bats today. They've been aggressive, but not undisciplined at the plate. And that's why we've seen a situation here with Troy Miller on the mound and a couple of guys reaching base, getting a base on balls. Corey Wood did it, and now Zach Humphreys there in a 3-2 count situation and 2 outs. And now the top of the order with a chance to crack through and extend this 3-run lead.
Will Robertson takes the first pitch ball, dipped way outside. Sable had to keep it in front. Beautiful day at Lowell Park. Beautiful day for the offense. Sunny skies all around. Some shadows now on the middle of the field. Pitcher's mound in the shadows, batter's box still in the sun. As the 1-0 comes to the sun and is skied high into the blue sky. Right side, playable for the second baseman Ashton McGee in shallow right field. He backs up and makes the catch as his right fielder Spencer Torkelson watches his hat fly off. He picks it up. And the Kettleers with no runs in this inning for the second consecutive time, but they still lead it 9-6 as we enter the 6th. This game will continue in a few minutes right here on the Cape Cod Baseball.
Let's keep it moving. 6th inning, and the top of the Chatham order due up to face the right-hander Matthew Gauthier. Ready for his 2nd inning of work out of the bullpen. Kettleers lead 9-6. Blake Sable, the leadoff man, standing in from the left side. Takes a fastball down in the dirt for ball 1. Cotuit at home. They jumped out to a quick 7-0 advantage. Chatham came back with a 3-run third, making it a 4-run ball game, but Cotuit answering with a 2-run home run from Brady Smith. They went up by 6, but now 3 unanswered scored by the Anglers, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. And Tom Holliday's side with their high-powered offense charging back into this one. Sabo at the plate, a 2-1 count. The big USC catcher that started this game in left field and now is behind the plate takes away for a 3-ball, 1-strike count. He's reached base twice today, scoring 2 runs, 1 for 2 officially, a hit batsman his last time up, and he's singled back in the 3rd. 5-pitch walk from Gauthier, who was nowhere close with that last fastball, and Sable will get aboard to start here in the top of 6.
Second consecutive inning, Gauthier has allowed something for Chatham on the first batter, and this is the dangerous top of the lineup. Everyone in the top 6 of this Chatham order has reached base today. Home runs from Rave and Simpson, and Spencer Torkelson on deck. got to be careful. It's 9-6. It was a great start for the Kettleers, but it's not a 7-0 ball game anymore. This is a 3-run game. Might as well be 3-0.
9 runs on 8 hits, 2 errors for the homestanding Kettleers, 6 runs on 10 hits, and 3 errors for the Chatham Anglers. Sable on first with the leadoff walk. John Rave at the plate. Infield at DP depth, and here's a bunt attempt that goes foul at home plate. Garrett Wolforth, the catcher, coming out for a little chat with Matthew Gauthier before this at-bat. Rave, the center fielder from Illinois State, 1 for 3 today, a 2-run home run back in the 3rd inning. The short outfielder with the high socks, twirling the bat from the left side here as Gauthier out of the stretch, posting up the left leg, now to the plate. His 0-1 on the outside corner, called strike 2. Shadows extending across the field here at Lowell Park, all across the left side of the infield and into left field, creeping over into Duke Ellis in center field. The 0-2 out in the other batter's box, 1-2 the count on Ray. Cotuit 9, Chatham 6, inning number 6. Sable is lead at first. Gauthier, the Canadian right-hander from NC State, comes set, and now we'll turn back and check on the 6'4" Sable at first, who dives back in safely. Plenty of length and plenty of speed for Sable. Part of this Chatham lineup that has tallied over 60 stolen bases to lead the Cape this year. Runner is going, the 1-2 swung on in the dirt. The throw down to second from Wolforth. Not in time as it took a one-hop into the glove of Salvatore. Sable steals the bag, but a swing and a miss from Rave means strikeout and out number 1.
Nearly a strike him out, throw him out kind of situation, but Wolforth one-hopping that one. Just not enough velocity on that ball. Now here comes the shift with Torkelson coming out.
The Kettleers have been going with shifts on the infield over the last week or so, and they'll do it here against Spencer Torkelson, who bats from the right side. 3 red shirts on the left side of that infield. First pitch from Gauthier, big cut and a miss for strike 1. Kettleers leading by 3. Here in the Chatham 6th inning. Runner on second, Sable. 1 out. Dillard, the first baseman, holding down the board on the right side of the infield. Kettleers outfield also shifting over towards the left. Duke Ellis playing in the left center field gap. Big gap over into right center as the do-it-all rising sophomore and Spencer Torkelson at the plate. Here's the 0-1 offering. Grounded hard, spiking off the mound and bouncing on the right side of the infield. That is an infield base hit for Spencer Torkelson. Sable moves up to third, and now concern for Matthew Gauthier as that ball was pierced onto the mound and it ricocheted off of Gauthier's ankle. Went about 25 feet into the air and then bounced to the right of the mound. Everybody's safe, and Gauthier now getting his ankle checked out by Craig Moody, the Cotuit athletic trainer. Pitching coach Jerry Weinstein out there as well.
That might have been the highest I've ever seen a ball ricochet into the air. I think your estimate of 25 feet is about right. That's got to hurt for Gauthier, an absolute stinger, and looks like he's going to have to come out of the ball game. And he had no idea where the ball is. So Torkelson reaching easily, and Sable moving over to third. Hope Gauthier will be okay as he trots out.
Gauthier walking back to the third base home dugout. He will exit this ball game with 1 out here in the 6th inning. Chatham down by 3, bringing the tying run to the plate, and the Kettleers will have to go to the bullpen after the injury. It'll be a new pitcher coming out next. We'll get you the name when we return. Kettleers lead 9-6 here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Here we are, hang on tight in the top of the 6th inning. Kettleers in the field, and the Chatham Anglers at the plate threatening to perhaps tie this game. Runners on first and third, only one away in the inning, and a new pitcher out of the Cotuit bullpen. It's the left-hander Ryan Smith from Princeton at 5'11". He'll come on to relieve an injured Matthew Gauthier, who took a hard single off an ankle and exits this ball game. Torkelson on first, Sable at third. And the new batter is Michael Bush. The cleanup man at the Chatham order takes a curveball away for ball 1. Ryan into the game, his 12th appearance of the year, 1-0 with a 5.92 earned run average. The little lefty out of the stretch, now to the plate. His 1-0, hit in the air foul off to the left side to even the count. 13.2 innings pitched on the season, 13 strikeouts, 14 hits allowed, and 12 walks for Ryan Smith. Jerry Weinstein, the pitching coach, going into the pen. The Kettleers up by 3. There's a fastball on the outside corner for strike 2.
You mentioning Jerry Weinstein reminds me. Remember after that Hyannis game, the 9-5 win on Saturday, 13 walks, a few errors. You said, "Good game, coach," and he said, "That was one of the worst played games I've ever seen."
Yep.
I have a feeling after today with some of the bad pitching, the 5 errors already, he might have a similar sentiment, win or lose.
9-6 Kettleers here in the 6th inning. Chatham at the plate. Runners on first and third with 1 out. Michael Bush, the batter. A 1-2 count as Smith looks in and gets the sign. His 1-2 upstairs at the letters. An 87-mile-an-hour fastball. Smith, not a velocity kind of guy. He's got a good little curve. He'll sit in the mid to high 80s with his fastball. He's looking for a ground ball here. Infield at double play depth. And another throw over to first to check on Torkelson. You know that Chatham likes to run. They lead the Cape League in stolen bases. We saw Sable swipe a bag earlier. We saw him get caught in a pitch out and still be able to steal second. And a similar situation with runners on first and third. Fastball just off the plate to run the count full on Michael Bush. You think Chatham might have a similar idea, but now the focus will be on the batter with a 3-2 count. Torkelson taking his lead at first. Smith to the plate. Missing away with a fastball. Bush thought about offering at it. Instead, he holds up in time, and now the bases are loaded with just 1 out and the potential go-ahead run at the plate in Colin Simpson.
All right, he said it. Hang on tight, and now Colin Simpson, who might be the hottest hitter on either side, comes in. Now with his 2 for 3 today and the home run in his last at-bat, he's 17 for his last 31.
First pitch to him. Breaking ball that runs up and in for ball 1. Simpson, stocky at 5'9", 215 pounds from Oklahoma State. Head coach Tom Holliday, knowing Stillwater pretty well after spending 26 seasons in the OK State program. Big fan of the miss from Simpson there on a fastball away, and Smith evens the count. 9-6 Kettleers. Trying to hang on to this lead. Bases loaded for Chatham. They've scored 3 unanswered, down by 3, trying to level up this game. The 1-1, little bloop single on the infield, taken by Salvatore at second, stepping on the bag for 1 and relaying on to first for a 6-3 unassisted double play. What about Mike Salvatore coming on to make a big defensive play, and the Kettleers escape the jam. Ryan Smith comes on and getting the bases left loaded against Chatham as we head to the home half of 6. Cotuit 9, Chatham 6. Here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network, this is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball.
I was getting really nervous. I also knew Gautier's
Bottom of the 6th inning, and Cotuit leading Chatham 9-6 as the Kettleers come up big. Ryan Smith out of the bullpen forcing a double play. Mike Salvatore getting the force at second himself and then throwing on to Dillard at first to escape a bases-loaded jam. That was a big goose egg posted up to stop the Chatham charge. They had scored in 3 consecutive innings. In a 3-run ball game now as the Kets at the plate will try and find a way to figure out Troy Miller, the right-hander out of Michigan, who's worked 2 innings, striking out 5 already. Faces off against Tolia, Dillard, and Salvatore here as Michael stands in with a 1-1 count, missing breaking ball there from Miller. Sam Niederman alongside Sam Brief. What a wild one it's been. Kettleers led 7-3 and then 9-3, now 9-6. Here in the bottom of 6 and a 2-1 count on Tolia, who looks at another bad breaking pitch.
This one's been nuts, and I have a feeling we're not quite done yet. This is not going to be a 9-6 final. Certainly doesn't feel that way.
Miller winds up his 2-1. Fastball just missing low and away. And a 3-1 count on Tolia. Switch hitter batting from the left side. 1 for 3 on the day, an RBI single back in that 5-run second for the Kettleers. The 3-1 launched high in the air, playable in shallow right center field. The second baseman McGee giving way to the center fielder Rave, who will come in to make the catch in the sun. 1 down here in the bottom of 6.
A few times today now we've seen Tolia get under balls, and I know that's what Coach Roberts doesn't want to see. He wants him to drive it instead of get under it. He had a nice drive back in the second, but that time a pop fly.
Now Thomas Dillard, 1 out and nobody aboard, and the Kettleers leading by 3. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it into the parking lot.
All the talk, speaking of pop flies, all the talk around Lowell Park today, both among the interns and among some of the players. The trainer Craig Moody asked me earlier if I had seen this. The stat going around social media about Joey Votto and how he's popped the ball up just 7 times since 2010.
It's crazy. Dillard hacks at an 0-2 pitch and fouls it just down the right line of the infield.
And according to this stat, the MLB average, with the amount of at-bats Votto's had between 2010 and now, the average MLB player would have 127 pop-ups to his name.
This is on the infield, an infield,
in the infield
pop-up. Yep.
Not a fly ball, just an infield pop-up, and Votto has 7.
It's crazy. Here's Miller's 0-2. Dillard skies it. That'll get out of play, foul.
And on top of that, in his 6,500 plate appearances, he has never once popped up to the catcher, pitcher, or first baseman. So none of those lazy little pop-ups on the front half of the infield. I mean, that is just nasty.
The dude's magician at the plate. 2-strike pitch. Nearly falling in, a breaking ball that's just a little low according to the home plate umpire and Rudy Firmbach. And Dillard stays alive, a 1-2 count. Here's the 1-2. Fastball that's jacked straight away to right, but right into the glove of Spencer Torkelson, who will bag it for out number 2. Now, how about that Votto stat? That's just incredible.
For the red legs, as you say, right? Is that a
Cincinnati
nickname?
Red Legs.
Red
That's
legs?
a real thing. That's a nickname.
I've never heard that.
Go Red Legs,
You
baby.
pulling my leg?
No, I am not. The Red Legs. Here's Mike Salvatore. He takes a breaking pitch for strike 1. 2 gone here in the home half of 6. The Kettleers leading 9-6 over Chatham. The 0-1. Launched towards straightaway center. Rave's got a beat on it. He's got it in his glove. 1-2-3 inning once again. 3 flyouts, and Troy Miller doing his job on the mound. 3 consecutive scoreless innings out of the pen for Chatham. Keeping this one close as the Kettleers will be back out on the field and try and tame the Angler offense when we come back, head into the 7th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
My favorite player. So good.
7 pop-ups in infield. 7 pop-ups in
So good.
6,500.
The average MLB player would have 126. It's on base percentage.
It's through the roof every time.
Top of the 7th inning, and the Kettleers still in front against the Chatham Anglers. 9-6 our score. Ryan Smith, who got the big double play to get out of a bases-loaded jam in the last frame, will work this full 7th inning. Facing off against Greg Jones, Ashton McGee, and Jorge Arenas. As a left-hander kicks and deals. First pitch curveball in there for a called strike. Jones, the shortstop, batting from the right side here. Kettleers infield creeping in at the corners. It's a big swing and a miss. Curveball on the dirt, 0-2 the count. Smith, the third baseman, on the grass. Dillard, the first baseman, now a little more back in the dirt. With 2 strikes, and the option to bunt might be taken away from Jones. Another changeup in the dirt that time from Smith. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kettleers leading 9-6, scoring 2 in the first, 5 in the second, and 2 in the third, but nothing since then. As there's a wayward curveball from Smith in the other batter's box, 2-2 on Jones. Chatham with 3 in the third, 2 in the fourth, and 1 in the fifth. They've scored 3 unanswered. Fastball dips low and in. Full count now on the leadoff man. Cotuit, powered by that 5-run fifth. 2-run home run by Mike Salvatore. Another foul ball at the plate from Jones, stay alive. And a 2-run home run from Brady Smith. Both of the Florida representatives, of course Smith from the University of Florida, Salvatore from Florida State, tallying their first home runs of the year. Another full count pitch, way upstairs, and Smith walks the leadoff man, and Chatham will have another good opportunity to start the 7th.
That's 3 consecutive innings with a positive Chatham result on the leadoff batter. They've had the tying run at the plate a few times, and these guys aren't done. An explosive offense. Credit Chatham for getting back into this game. A 7-0 game after 2 innings. Easy to just chalk it up as a loss, throw up the white flag, but these guys have battled back, and they've done it with a lot of power, a lot of flash.
After the leadoff walk here in the 7th, Jerry Weinstein will come out to the dugout and motion for a pitching change. He says he's seen enough. Ryan Smith will give the ball over to Coach Weinstein, and the Kettleers will go to the bullpen with nobody out here in the 7th. Chatham a runner on, and a 9-6 Kettleer lead. We'll have the new arm for you when we return. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. New pitcher for the Kettleers here in the top of the 7th is the right-hander Deacon Metters from Alabama. Big number 47 will come into the ball game and relieve Ryan Smith, who walked the leadoff man, and Greg Jones. A runner on first base, nobody out, and it will be a pinch hitter to come to the plate for the Chatham Anglers, Tristan English. A first baseman from Georgia Tech at 6'2", a right-handed batter, will face the right-hander out of the pen and Deacon Metters. A little bit of a chess match there as Jerry Weinstein pulling a southpaw on Ryan Smith. And now Metters will come out of the bullpen, making another appearance for the Cotuit Kettleers. He pitched last in the first game against Harwich, his 12th game of the year. And it was a rough one against the Mariners back on Monday. He only lasted a third of an inning, allowing 2 runs on 3 hits, striking out 1, facing 5 batters. Deacon, a 1-0 record, 4.56 earned run average, pitching in 23 2/3 innings this season, allowing 24 hits, striking out 25, and walking 9. Tristan English, the pinch hitter. Kettleers up 9-6. And boy, oh boy, you get the feeling this one's going to be wild, and Chatham is really pressing the Kettleers here late in this one.
Well, it already has been wild, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. Second consecutive inning where down 3 runs, Chatham has really threatened the Kettleers with no one out, a runner on. Easily, Metters could get out of this with a strikeout or a double play ball. This Chatham offense has so much pop. They're not going away anytime soon.
Metters out of the pen, a runner on, and nobody out. First pitch to English in the dirt, and the speedy Greg Jones running down to second, and he dives in safely as Garrett Wolforth, unable to control a bouncing curveball there. He had a chance to throw, but Jones aggressive on the base paths, and he'll swipe a bag to move up into scoring position.
That guy's a stud. 15 steals now on the season. Lightning quick.
He really is. Running like a deer out there. 1-0 count, runner on second base. 3-run ball game. Ground ball, 1 hop at Salvatore, and it goes off the heel of his mitt, and he did not know where it went. He thought it got through his legs. Instead, it was right below him. He was looking around to the outfield, and that will allow the runner in English to reach base. The pinch hitter gets aboard. Roll that an E6, the 3rd error on the day for Cotuit, and 2 aboard for Chatham.
That one's got a sting for Salvatore, not only because he muffed it, but looked kind of silly looking for the ball when it was right at his feet. And unfortunately, sometimes that happens. You see it all the time with catchers, especially with all the catching gear they have to look through. An unfortunate error. Now 6 errors today between these two sides.
English aboard at first after the E6. Jones at second, nobody out. Kettleers lead 9-6. Now Jorge Arenas, who tails one back foul, an 0-1 count.
You said Greg Jones runs like a deer. Are deer fast runners? Are they?
Yeah, like a
They're
deer.
Quick?
Yeah, like you ever driven a John Deere and it's got the deer and the rabbit.
Oh.
Or sorry, the hare and a turtle normally, but you can get a deer on there too. You run like a deer or a gazelle. 2 runners on, and Arenas takes a nice curveball from Deacon, strike 2.
I only ever see the deer just walking by the side of the road late at night. Guess they can run.
They do. At least that's the saying. Metters will spin back and check on Jones at second. Leading the Cape League in stolen bases, he has 16, a couple of them already today. Taking his lead with that black hand protector on his right hand. The 0-2. In there, called strike 3. Big strikeout of Arenas. Nice slider there from Metters. A big out number 1 here in the 7th.
Yeah, good pitch, Deacon. Hit a hole into this Chatham lineup. Get them off their game a little bit before you kick it back to the top. It'd be nice to not even kick it back to the top with the dangerous top 3 hitters, especially with runners on.
It's the Kettleers up by 3 here in the top of 7. All 9 runs for the Kets coming in the first 3 frames. Chatham trying to continue their comeback. They've scored 3 unanswered. The number 9 batter and Kyle McCann at the plate with 2 on. First pitch curveball dipping outside for ball 1 from Metters. Sun setting here at Lowell Park. The shadows almost engulfing the entire field except for Will Robertson, who's still basking in the sun out there in right field. But you know what they say, everything gets hotter when the sun goes down. Metters set out of the stretch, his 1-0. Fastball grounded on the right side. Dillard, a diving backhand pick. He'll throw from one knee. Metters covering in time at the first base bag. And a big 3-1 for out number 2.
Big time play from Thomas Dillard. Always good to see someone who's not necessarily used to playing a certain position step up in a big spot like that and make a routine play, taking it out of the dirt. But the runners both advance, so a big spot here for Blake Sable, the Cape League leader with 7 home runs.
Both runners advancing into scoring position. English up to second, Jones at third. Kettleers 9, Chatham 6. Top of the 7th, and 2 gone for Blake Sable, who points to the sky, saying a little prayer before digging into the left-handed batter's box. Metters dealing, first pitch breaking ball, lifted in the air, shallow left field. Tolia crashing in for it, diving effort, he does not make the play. It bounces on the green, both runs come home to score, and Chatham has made this a 1-run ball game, a 2-run bloop double for Blake Sable, and it's 9-8.
Well, you said fasten your seatbelts. This one's getting interesting. That was such an interesting hit by Blake Sable because off the bat, seemed like it would be easily tracked down, but the ball kind of died in the air. Caught Michael Tolia out of position. He had to charge in, nearly made the incredible diving catch. But not a play you can expect too many guys to make, and just like that, a 1-run game.
Now the batter, John Rave, as a first pitch curveball gets away from Woolforth. It went up the line at third base, but Sable able to speed into third. So now the potential tying run 90 feet away for Chatham, who have stormed back 5 unanswered. 2 more here in the 7th. Sable's 2-out, 2-run double. John Rave at the plate, a 1-0 count. Metters the pitcher, his defense behind him shifting slightly to the right. Salvatore playing up the middle at short. The 1-0, called strike just above the belt. 92-mile-an-hour heater to even the count. A lot of youngsters in the parking lot waiting for a foul ball here at Lowell Park. Chatham is back within 1. There's a good hard fastball over the pipe. 1-2 as Metters gets ahead. Cotuit looking for their 2nd straight win this week. They beat Hyannis for a Patriot Cup victory, 7-2 yesterday. Swing and a miss on the 1-2. Metters dusts them off with some filthy slider stuff right there. Sitting down Rave on strikes, and that'll get the Kettleers out of this top of the 7th inning, still in the lead, but Chatham adding 2 more with 2 outs. Blake Sable, the double, to make it 9-8. Cotuit still on top as they'll come to the plate. Coming up next here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. We've got a good one here in Cotuit. The Kettleers leading 9-8 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And before we get things started, let's bring in to our 3rd member of the broadcast crew, Mason Orodisky, who's standing by. Mason.
Thank you, Sam. The Kettleers have looked great these past 2 games as far as an offensive standpoint goes. They already have 2 home runs in this contest. The team has a 9-3-2 record whenever they have a home run. Should the score remain as is right now, that will move into the double-digit win column. The Kettleers have looked great also from an aggressiveness standpoint. We know Coach Roberts have been stressing that the past week, them being able to swing the bat more often. And with 7 runs yesterday and 9 today, I'm glad to see that the Kettleers are finally able to use that green light to full steam ahead. Back to you guys up in the studio.
The Kettleers will try and get back on track offensively. Thank you, Mason. They have not scored since the third inning. All 9 of their runs coming in the first 3 frames, and they'll get a chance here against a new pitcher in the bottom of 7. Troy Miller's day is done. He goes 3 stellar innings, striking out 5 Kettleer batters. He only allowed 2 walks. And now the middle of the order will have a chance to face a left-hander, Zach Knoll. Zach Knoll, 6'6", 210 pounds, a junior from the University of San Diego. First pitch is a ball to Garrett Wolforth, who starts things off. 1-0 count to the number 5 hitter in the Kettleer lineup. Duke Ellis and Corey Wood also due up. Ket's up 9-8. Ground ball, left side. Third baseman Arenas unable to make a backhand pick as it trickles in down the line in left field. And Garrett Wolforth is aboard to lead off this home half of the 7th.
Yeah, great job there. Wolforth sneaking it right by Arenas. The Kettleers needed a response after that, and they've got it.
The official scorer will rule that a hit. That is a hit, and you can call it a double for Garrett Wolforth. Third time he's reached successfully today. He'll stand on second base with nobody out here in the bottom of 7. The left-hander and Zach Knoll coming on out of the Pembroke Chatham. Their starter, Dan Hammer, who is going to be the starter for the Eastern Division in the Cape League All-Star game, was roughed up 3 innings, allowing 9 runs on 8 hits. Miller was a good stop plug for the Anglers, and now the lefty and Knoll. Facing off against Duke Ellis here with a runner on second. Ellis showing bunt, pulls it back, fastball high for ball 1. Arenas at third, and McCann the first baseman. Those 2 will be coming in at the corners. Duke Ellis, a pretty good bunter for the Kettleers. He's executed 1 sacrifice this season. The 1-0, bounced off a bunt in front of the mound, and all that Knoll can do is throw it down to first, but Ellis beats it out. Infield bunt single, Duke Ellis showing off his speed, and what a job that time to advance the runner and be safe himself. There'll be runners on the corners with nobody out.
Beautiful job from Duke Ellis. Such a good bunter, such a good runner, executed both to perfection there. And now the Cats really in business, looking to respond.
Ellis on first, Wolforth up to third. The left-hander and Zach Knoll from Oregon will be facing Corey Wood here. Wood, a nice day so far, reaching in all 3 plate appearances. A single, an error, and a walk. And he's scored 2 runs. A chance to add to this Cotuit 1-run lead here in the bottom of 7. First pitch from Knoll. Wood showing bunt, pulling it back as Wolforth took a pretty big lead at third, and he retreats back to the bag. Sable, the catcher, thought about snapping back to try and get the lead runner. Mike Roberts, the Kettleer head coach at third base, cycling through the signs. Sun going down at Lowell Park. Wood at the plate. Knoll, the big lefty, kicking and dealing. Fastball on the outside corner. That levels up the count 1-1. So Wolforth leading off the inning with a double down the left field line. Then a bunt single from Duke Ellis. First and third, nobody out. The 1-1. Bunt popped up by Wood. Arenas crashing in from third to make the catch on the run. And a botched bunt attempt there, caught by the third baseman for out number 1.
Great job from Arenas there, showing off his range, charging in, and then also nearly getting a second out at first, but Duke Ellis too smart, back in time. Now a double play ball, still in play with that infield at double play depth. Brady Smith's got to get this one in the air with 1 out, just blasted into the outfield. The Kettleers need some cushion here, up just 1.
Smith at the plate with runners on the corners. Knoll's first pitch pulled the string on him. Good curveball, strike 1. The trees in right field still kissed by the sun. The rest of the field pretty much under the shadows. A weathered field here at Lowell Park. You can see some of the patches of dead grass in the outfield as we work into the dog days of July. The 0-1 curveball off the plate. Smith taking 1 ball and 1 strike. Paul Widener, the first base coach, meeting with Duke Ellis, who will now take his lead off the bag. Garrett Wolforth, accompanied by Mike Roberts at third. There's a gap on the left side of the infield with the middle of it at double play depth, and a good curveball from Knoll, getting ahead in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Smith at the plate. He was responsible for the last 2 runs for Cotuit. A 2-run blast back in the 3rd inning. That made it 9-3. A whole new game here, 9-8. Cotuit still in front as Knoll will fire over to first to check on Ellis. Brady down, unable to get the ball in play with runners on the corners. Second out of the inning, and Zach Humphreys will be the last chance here for Cotuit.
So now Kettleers in grave danger of leaving 2 men on base in a runners on the corners, no one out situation. That can't happen. So let's see if Humphreys can change it.
Knoll comes set. Humphreys at the plate. Pitches outside for ball 1. Chatham scored 2 in the top half of this inning. Blake Sable's 2-run double with 2 outs, pulling the A's back within 1 run. Kettleers looking to pad themselves here. The 1-0 in there. Called strike at 88 miles an hour on a fastball. Zach Humphreys at the plate. Reached on an error and scored back in the 2nd. Walked his last time up back in the 5th inning of play. Worked that walk against Troy Miller, who went 3 scoreless innings out of the pen for Chatham. It's Zach Knoll on the mound here. His 1-1. Just off the plate, ball 2. Big left-hander will be transferring to Oregon next fall. Coming on to try and keep this at a 1-run game for the visiting Chatham A's. Runners on the corners, the 2-1. Hacked back foul by Humphreys.
Good situational pitching here from Knoll. Gave up the double, the bunt single, but then he's been hitting his spots well, jamming these Cotuit hitters in a situation where any hard contact would bring home the run. He's forced nothing but these little fly balls. And, of course, the strikeout of Brady Smith.
The 2-2 with 2 outs. Ellis going, and it's fouled off on the right side near the Chatham dugout. But it will get out of play, and Humphreys stays alive. Activity in the Kettleer bullpen down the left field line. Steven Schock is the man, the right-hander submarine thrower. He's getting loose with Brady north. Ellis at first, Wolforth at third. 2 outs in the bottom of 7. Kettleers up 9-8. A 2-2 count to Humphreys. Here's the pitch. Hit in the air. This one will be spoiled foul on the left side. Look at Blake Sable behind the plate. The rec specs on underneath his catching gear. He puts back on the mask. And will get set as a home plate umpire, and Rudy Fernbach will say, hang on, gentlemen. All right, play ball. Big chance for Cotuit. Runner going again as the 2-2 tailed high in the air. Foul territory right side. English makes an underhanded grab in foul territory for the final out of the inning. So the Kettleers get the first 2 runners aboard in this inning, but strand them at first and third as we head to the 8th. Still just a 1-run ball game with the Kettleers in front. And we'll have the rest of it coming up next here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
And we enter the home stretch here at Lowell Park, top of the 8th. It's 9-8. Kettleers barely hanging to this lead. And a good part of the Chatham order coming up to face off against the Alabama kid and Deacon Metters. Spencer Torkelson, Michael Bush, and Colin Simpson due up for the Anglers, who have stormed back. Kettleers led this one 7-0 after 2, 9-3 after 3 innings. But Chatham has scored 5 unanswered runs here, and they've made it a 9-8 ball game. Breathing down Cotuit's neck as the 1-0 comes into Torkelson. Kettleers stranded 2 base runners in that last inning. They had runners on the corners with no one out, but couldn't convert. As the 1-0 comes in for a strike, 1-1 the count on Spencer Torkelson. He's been a menace today, 3 for 4, 2 singles and a 2 RBI double with a run scored. 1-1, big hack and a miss. There's strike 2.
Of course, the last time that these two faced off, Metters and Torkelson, it was late in that 6-1 Cotuit win back on that Sunday doubleheader, and Torkelson took him yard.
1-2, Torkelson just takes him for a little tapper foul. It's a 1-2 count. Such a powerful Chatham lineup. Came into this ball game with 28 home runs. That was second, trailing just Orleans with 30. Well, now Chatham has 30. Home runs from John Rave and Colin Simpson today. 1-2 to Torkelson. Just misses with the curveball high. It's ball 2. The Anglers also lead the league in stolen bases, of which they have a couple today. Now the 2-2 to Torkelson. Smoked foul. Liner on the left field side. Count stays pat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Defensive alignment for the Kettleers is a shift. We've seen that a couple times today against Torkelson. 3 infielders on the left side. Brady Smith, Mike Salvatore, Corey Wood. Only the first baseman, Dillard, on the right side. Here's Metters 2-2. Just jams him up inside. A ball, and it's a full count. Outfield also shifted a bit over. You can tell especially with the center fielder, Duke Ellis, pretty much parallel with the second baseman, Corey Wood, off to the left of second base. Payoff pitch, and time called by Spencer Torkelson. You get the sense, even though there's no one on, no one out, a big pitch coming up as Mike Roberts lets home plate umpire Ruby Firmbach hear it. Now Firmbach turning. Writing something down in his notebook. He might have just issued a warning to Mike Roberts saying it's your mistake. Unhappy with the last ball strike call. Roberts leaning over his perch in the dugout with the Cotuit windbreaker. Payoff pitch from Metters. Swung on and skied high deep into left field, but foul as it falls into the trees and the Cotuit bullpen watches it fly. A smile from Spencer Torkelson, who tattooed that one. But foul by a good deal. And this long at-bat will continue. 3 balls, 2 strikes, no one out, and no one on. Metters kicks and fires. Swung on, and this one tattooed. Deep left field. Tolia going back, and he watches it fly. A solo home run for Spencer Torkelson. His first of the ball game, his 6th of the season. And we are knotted up, 9 runs apiece. The barn burner continues here at Lowell Park. What was once a 7-0 Cotuit lead, a 9-3 Cotuit lead a few innings later, has turned into a tie ball game, and we're down for a good one in the stretch.
That kid's a beast. Golly. Woo. Tie game. All right, reset, new ball game, put it behind you, right?
Right. Screamer right at Michael Bush. He ducks out of the way with a smile. 9-9. Chatham has scored in every inning from the 3rd to the 8th with the exception of the 6th. And now Jerry Weinstein comes out of the dugout for a chat with Metters. Steven Schock is warming up in the bullpen. Not sure if Weinstein will turn to him here. How about Chatham coming back, and how about Spencer Torkelson? The only ball he hit harder than that home run was the foul ball right before it.
Yeah, he almost got it on that foul ball, and the one that he did it fair, no doubter, right away. Deep to left field into the woods. And Cotuit's certainly not out of the woods. Nobody out in this 8th inning, and Chatham has had all the momentum. I mean, all of it. If you ever watched National Treasure, remember when John Boyd says the status quo has changed, you got to get it back in our favor. That's exactly what the Kettleers need here.
1-0 from Metters. Trails inside for ball 2. Weinstein sticking with his man here. That was the second home run of the season for Torkelson off of Deacon Metters. His last 2 home runs here in Chatham have been off of Deacon, hitting a home run in his last game on the Cape before heading off to Team USA. Mike Roberts still unhappy with the home plate umpire Ruby Furbach. Unhappy with the ball strike call. Thought Spencer Torkelson should have been struck out before the home run. And there's a swing and a miss for strike 2 on Michael Bush, the UNC Tar Heel. He's 1 for 3 today with the single and a walk. 9-9 here in the 8th. Metters pitch. Bounces in the dirt. Full count. The Kettleers scored 2 in the first, 5 in the second, and 2 in the third. They haven't scored since. 4 goose eggs in those middle innings. And now here's the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss for Michael Bush. Deacon Metters recovers nicely with his 3rd strikeout. 1 away in the 8th.
That's the way to rebound. That's what pitching's all about, mental toughness. A lot of it is just between the ears, above the shoulders, and that's the way to bounce back. You're still facing the heart of this very dangerous Chatham lineup. Sending down a good hitter, and Michael Bush.
Here's a good hitter. Colin Simpson looks at ball 1. Simpson 2 for 4 today, 2 runs batted in, including a home run to lead off the 5th inning. The Oklahoma State Cowboys sets and takes a hack at that one, but tailed off foul. A 1-1 count. Simpson, the DH today out of Oklahoma State. A lefty going up against the righty fire thrower in Deacon Metters. Simpson on a 10-game hit streak. The hottest hitter in this lineup. 1-1 count. Metters posts the leg and fires. Screamer right back to Metters. He takes it off the thigh, and it's going to slowly spill into left field. Colin Simpson reaches base on an unconventional single. The 14th hit of the ball game for Chatham, and this inning continues with 1 out.
Glad that Deacon is okay. That was a little scary because he came, when he finishes his pitching motion, you're completely exposed to home plate. And that one got him square on the meaty part of the front thigh, I believe. Ricocheted over to where the shortstop would be and into left field. And
either
looks
way,
like
that'll
Coach
do
Weinstein's going to go on for a pitching change.
Stephen Schock gets the nod from Weinstein. He'll come out of the bullpen as Jerry takes the ball from Deacon Metters. We'll be back in a moment with the pitching change. 1 out in the 8th. It's Cotuit 9, Chatham 9. A good one here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Welcome back to Lowell Park.
Welcome back to Lowell Park. Pitching change for the Kettleers as Steven Schock comes on, and some fireworks on the field. Tom Holliday was yelling at the home plate umpires from his perch on the first base side. That prompted Mike Roberts to come running out of the Cotuit dugout, upset with the fact that Holliday was yelling at the umpires. Not sure what Holliday was upset about, but Roberts seemed upset that Holliday was yelling at all, saying he can't intimidate people in this league and yell at me. And now Roberts back to the dugout.
Well, here's what happened. When Deacon Metters was initially pulled from the game, I believe he started shouting out either at the home plate umpire or maybe just to himself. I'm not sure what. And then Jerry Weinstein was out there after the pitching change, and he was going back and forth in the dugout for Chatham with Tom Holliday. And then Mike Roberts eventually came out, and there was a nice shouting match. It was really getting tight late.
So runner on first for Greg Jones. Schock is the new pitcher. The submarine right-handed thrower out of UMBC comes in. And a good spot for him. One of the Kettleers' 3 All-Stars. He's been dynamite. An 0.61 ERA on the season. He hasn't given up an earned run since June the 17th. His first pitch to Jones, a good one. On the outside corner, strike 1. 16 strikeouts this season for Schock, just 4 walks. His last outing was the second leg of the home-on-home against Harwich on Wednesday. He went 2 1/3 scoreless, just 1 hit and 4 strikeouts. 0-1 with the runner at first. Here's his pitch. Outside, the runner going. That's Simpson. He's caught in a pickle. Salvatore at second, throws back to Dillard at first, who applies the tag on Colin Simpson. So the Kettleers catch Simpson trying to steal. And just like that, you can clear the base paths with 2 outs.
I tell you what, this Wolforth kid behind the plate is not a bad arm. He got him in a hurry, and he actually was delayed getting into the other box and clearing himself some space to throw. And he was still able to get the runner in Simpson, who's not a fleet-footed guy by any means, but pinned him down nicely. Good job, Garrett Wolforth.
1-1, Shopper right side, rolling on the line in foul. Thomas Dillard will make sure it stays foul. Now a 1-2 count on Greg Jones. Mike Roberts still yelling jeers from the Kettleers side. Tense moments. Coach Roberts was unhappy with a lot of the ball strike calls from our home plate umpire in Spencer Torkelson's at-bat. Of course, he hit the solo home run that tied the game up. Jerry Weinstein came out for the pitching change. Tom Holliday wasn't too happy about something, and then Mike Roberts retaliated. Wild times. We've seen it all in this 9-9 ball game. 1-2 count, 2 outs. Here's Schock's submarine pitch. It's popped foul on the left side, and the count stays put. How about the big donkey himself, Steven Schock this season, his second year as a Kettleer out of UMBC, transferred to UMBC from Appalachian State. The DMV kid from Laurel, Maryland, and he's been lights out. A deep breath from Schock. Here's the 1-2 to Jones. It just misses outside, and it's a 2-2 count. Greg Jones today, 1 for 3 from the dish, a single and a walk. He's scored one of the Chatham 9 runs today. The 2-2. Ground ball, right side, right through the 5-hole of Adam Oviedo, who's now at second base. The error on Oviedo will allow Jones to reach. That's the 4th error today for Cotuit, 7th between these two sides. And that's a way to announce the defensive substitution as Adam Oviedo comes in the game for Corey Wood. So Oviedo at second, Salvatore at shortstop. So a new double play combo for the Kettleers. Oviedo will also come in to bat for Corey Wood in the 7-hole.
Well, that's not the way you would like to introduce yourself to the ball game. Adam Oviedo coming in for defensive purposes and playing new position. This first time we've seen him at second base, and just a little routine ground ball that he boots there.
And now a pinch hitter here. It's Drew Mendoza out of Florida State, college teammate of Mike Salvatore. So Mendoza in the ball game. Lefty infielder, a junior at Florida State, 6'4", 220, and Schock will check on Greg Jones once again. Now, when you look at Greg Jones over there at first, remember how speedy the guy is. He's the best base stealer in the Cape, on the best base stealing team in the Cape. Runner on first, 2 outs. Mendoza still awaiting his first pitch. He won't get it, as Shock will check on the runner once again. It's a 9-9 ball game here in the 8th. Kettleers once up 7-0. But Chatham has stormed back behind 3 home runs. It's a tie game here in the 8th. Here's Shock's first pitch to Mendoza. It's skied foul over the third base grandstand by the Kettleer Kitchen. Serving up some good hot dogs on a buttery, toasty roll.
It's a good toasted roll, by the way.
That's a good one, yeah.
Had a few of those hot dogs the other day.
Learned recently that's the New England hot dog is with the bun that looks kind of like bread. Shock checks on Jones again. It's an 0-1 count. Mendoza at the dish. He's got the Chatham Royal Blue wood bat. Shock out of the stretch, kicks, and the submarine delivery. It's a pitch out. Wolforth throwing to second. He didn't get him. Greg Jones reaches on a steal. That one was close, and a lot of the Kettleer faithful alongside Mike Roberts unhappy with that call. But Greg Jones with his 3rd stolen base of the game, his 17th of the season, and a runner in scoring position for Chatham.
That was close. Another great throw from Wolforth, but unable to get the runner in Jones.
And now they're going to intentionally walk Drew Mendoza. So with 2 outs, the Kettleers opting to get a force at first, second, or third. It's a 2-1 count as Wolforth signals the intentional walk. Shock still dealing the intentional walk from the subby style. And this will put runners at first and second. As Shock sends in the 4th ball. And that'll put Mendoza at first. Greg Jones still at second. And Jorge Arenas coming to the plate with a chance to give Chatham the lead. It's a 9-9 ball game. Runners on first and second. Jorge Arenas at the plate as the sun continues to set. Darkness starting to creep over Lowell Park ever so slightly. Remember, no lights here. We've had 2 games this season called due to darkness. And with the barn burner this game has been, almost 3 hours of game time already. As Jorge Arenas comes in. Brady Smith, the third baseman, shading over towards the line. No doubles defense for Cotuit. Shock's first pitch to Arenas. He lays down a bunt. It's a pop-up to Brady Smith. It rolls out of play in foul territory. An 0-1 count. Looked for a moment like it might be playable for Smith, but just falls in front of him. And it's an 0-1 count. What a game this one has been, man.
It's been a fun game. It's been a little bit of a nervous wreck now for the Kettleers, who have blown a 6-run advantage. 7-run advantage, I beg your pardon. And now the infield coming together, a mound visit. Everybody trying to get on the same page. Kind of an awkward situation where you have to force guys to adjust. You got Adam Oviedo out there at second, a shortstop by trade. Stephen Shock on the mound working with Garrett Wolforth for the first time behind the plate. Just things like this where you really have to bear down together as a team and wipe away the fact that you might have blown a big lead and play big in the late stages of this one. A tie ball game, and Chatham threatening to take a big first lead of the day.
Kettleer faithful saying, have an out. Let's see if Shock can have one here as Arenas sends a line drive foul on the right side. An 0-2 count. 2 foul balls from Jorge Arenas, and now a chance for Shock to escape some trouble. It's a 9-9 ball game. It's been a long top of the 8th. Spencer Torkelson got the party started for Chatham. The first at bat, he hit a home run. A moonshot over the left field fence. And Jorge Arenas looking to give Chatham their first lead of the ball game. Stephen Shock will try and shut it down with 2 runners on. 0-2 count, 2 outs. Shock looking back at second, now to the plate. A deep breath and he'll step off. Trying to keep the speedy Greg Jones honest at second. Jones doesn't even retreat back to the bag. He'll keep his healthy lead. He's got the high socks and a dirtied up Chatham uniform. The true mark of the speedster. 0-2 count. Shock ready. Here's the pitch. It trails outside for ball 1. 18 runs between the two sides. 24 hits. 7 errors. a stuffed box score. And we still have another inning to play. Now ready once again for the 1-2. Shock out of the stretch. Here's his pitch. Poked into shallow right field. Coming over the right fielder, Robertson. It gets by him into the hands of Duke Ellis. Throw home, not in time. Greg Jones scores. And Chatham takes their first lead today, 10-9. The Anglers have stormed back from down 7 runs and taken the lead here in the 8th. RBI single from Jorge Arenas. Just a little blooper into right. And it's a 10-9 ball game. Still 2 runners on with 2 outs in the 8th.
Well, a little bloop single like that just about sums it all up. That's the kind of play that Chatham were going to take the lead on, and Arenas just able to serve it out there into shallow right field. A good effort by Robertson to try and dive for it, but it was going to be a tough play from the time that came off the bat. And once again, Chatham proving their mettle, their offensive prowess. A big comeback here, and everybody's stunned at Lowell Park.
Kyle McCann takes ball 1. So it's now Mendoza at second, Arenas the hero at first. 1-0 to McCann, skied high. Fly ball into the outfield. Playable for Duke Ellis. The left fielder will trot over and make the catch for out number 3. But the Chatham Anglers take the lead, storming back from down 7. A home run from Spencer Torkelson. An RBI bloop single from Jorge Arenas. And it's a new ball game once again. Chatham 10, Cotuit 9. The Kettleers have to press for a run as we head to the bottom of the 8th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. It's a changed game here at Lowell Park. 10-9 Chatham as Will Robertson skies the first pitch from Gregory Valise to left field, where it's caught by the new left fielder Colin Simpson. So a whole host of defensive changes for the Anglers to get you caught up on. Gregory Valise, the pitcher out of Miami by way of beautiful Key West, Florida, comes into the ball game, hard-throwing righty, has a 2.87 ERA on the season. He'll come in to pitch this frame. Colin Simpson, who was DH, comes out to left field. So Chatham has lost the DH spot. And over at second base is Michael Bush. Michael Tolia fouls this one off. It's an 0-1 count. So Valise, the new pitcher, Colin Simpson in left, and Michael Bush, the North Carolina Tar Heel, at second base. Gregory Valise His 12th appearance of the season, he sends the 0-1 outside for ball one. His last outing was a disaster against Hyannis, gave up 2 runs, facing just 6 batters in that 12-5 loss. He looks to rebound here, 1-1 the count, and this pitch in the dirt, 2-1. Kettleers need a run, they need it bad. They led 7-0 after 2 innings, 9-3 after 3 innings, but they're down 10-9 here in the 8th. 2-1 to Tolia, fastball down Broadway. There's strike 2. It's been a wild, wild game featuring 19 combined runs, 25 combined hits, and 7 combined errors. As Valise steps, kicks, and fires with the 2-2. It's in the dirt for ball 3. Cotuit was up 9-8 coming into the 8th, but a solo home run from Spencer Torkelson and a bloop single to drive in a run from Jorge Arenas has given Chatham the lead. Payoff pitch to Tolia. It's a swing and a miss. Strike 3. And Cotuit down to their final out of the 8th. How quickly has this game turned?
Yeah, the momentum is completely in favor of Chatham. Energy at the ballpark has just been sucked out. It was such a fast start for the Kettleers. 9 runs in their first 3 innings. Up 7-0 to begin this ball game, and Chatham has been resilient. Their offense has kept in it the entire time. Kettleers' offense has gone silent against a good Chatham bullpen, and just like that, a 10-9 game.
Swing and a miss from Thomas Dillard. He's in an 0-1 hole. As Valise kicks and deals another strike on the inside corner. It's an 0-2 count. Coming into this game, the Kettleers were 10-1 this season when leading after 7. As Valise sends the 0-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. He sets him down on strikes. Mike Roberts not happy, but Gregory Valise comes in, strikes out 2, goes 1-2-3, and that's going to be the ball game. This game will be called early due to darkness. As the Chatham Anglers come onto the field to celebrate, Mike Roberts seems confused talking with the umpires, but right after that strikeout, home plate umpire Rudy Firmbach, denoting that this will be the last out of the ball game. The game called due to darkness. It's pretty dark at Lowell Park. Tough to imagine these two teams playing another inning with all the runs and the errors. It's been a long game, going on 3 hours, 2 hours and 58 minutes of game time. And that'll do it. Final score, Chatham 10, Cotuit 9. The Kettleers were up 7-0 and 9-3 in this ball game. But the Anglers stormed back for a 10-9 win, and Mike Roberts still unhappy talking to these umpires. What a comeback for Chatham.
Yeah, you gave all the credit in the world to Chatham. They took this game. They never gave out, never down and out. Offense was great. Torkelson, the cherry on top to tie it, and then just a little bloop single from Arenas to give them the win. And unfortunate that this game had to be played in 8 innings, and due to darkness here at Lowell Park, we couldn't get the full 9, but the umpiring crew is going to walk out of here ignoring the rest of Mike Roberts' argument. He is clearly not happy. I see where he's coming from. You wish that a game could be played to its full extent, but with the situation here at Lowell Park and no lights, you understand when they had to make the call. It is pretty dark out. And you see the 2 managers exchanging a handshake there behind home plate. Coach Roberts not happy with Tom Holliday because they were jarring back and forth in the 7th or 8th inning. I forget which one, top of the 7th or bottom of, I think it was the top of the 8th. They were going back and forth. And of course, Holliday, new to the Cape League. Roberts, a mainstay for 15 years. I think they're trying to smooth over any differences here. I'm sure it'll all be good by the end of this one. But just a terrible day for the Kettleers, just terrible.
So the Kettleers coming into this ball game, as I was saying, 10-1 when leading after 7 innings. And Chatham, when trailing after 7 innings, just 1-13 on the season. But they storm back and take this game 10-9. 10 runs on 15 hits for Chatham, 9 runs on 10 hits for the Kettleers. And Tom Holliday, Mike Roberts still exchanging words at home plate. We'll take a pause here. On the other side, we'll have the post-game wrap-up from Lowell Park. The final score, Chatham 10 and Cotuit 9. We'll be right back here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Post-game wrap-up from Lowell Park, recapping a wild, wild game that ended in a Chatham 10-9 win in a game that was shortened to 8 innings due to darkness. Gregory Valise came on for the save, struck out Michael Tolia and Thomas Dillard to end it, and then the game waved off by the home plate umpire Ruby Firmbach, saying the game's called due to darkness. Mike Roberts wasn't happy, but the umpire's word is the final word. It is pretty dark at Lowell Park as the sun has set, so that's all we'll play as Chatham wins 10-9. To recap this one, might take a while, so bear with us, folks. Cotuit started off red hot, 7 runs in the first 2 innings, then another 2 in the third to take what was then a 9-3 lead. And it seemed like it was going to be a Kettleer rout, an offensive party for Cotuit. But Chatham absolutely stormed back a scorching hot offense. Home runs from John Rave, Colin Simpson, and Spencer Torkelson. Those were the key, while the Kettleers put up goose eggs from the 4th to the 8th. And a wild comeback win for Chatham. The game-winning run scored in the top of the 8th. Jorge Arenas driving in Colin Simpson on a little bloop single into right field. That wasn't a very flashy play, but this game was flashy. 5 home runs between the two teams, 19 runs, 25 hits, a barn burner, but at the end of the day, a comeback win for Chatham, and a result Cotuit will want to soon forget.
Yeah, you feel gutted for the Kettleers. Just a gut-wrenching defeat today. Unfortunately, they weren't able to finish this one off against a very talented Chatham team, and offense is the name of the game for the Anglers, and they displayed that full blast today. You knew they were going to be a threat to score after scoring 17 against Brewster last night. They put up another 10 on the board today in comeback fashion. You love the quick start from the Kettleers. Love the intensity. Love the enthusiasm. Guys stepping up that we haven't seen deliver before. Mike Salvatore and Brady Smith with 2-run home runs. Both of them their first home runs of the season. Everything smooth sailing to begin against a really good pitcher in Dan Hammer. I mean, this guy's going to be starting the Cape League All-Star game for the East Division on Sunday. And the Kettleers got to him big. Three innings, and they got 9 runs on the board for his ledger. And that was a great start, positive start for the Kettleer offense, but it just went downhill from there. You got the sense that they needed just that last knockout punch, and the offense just wasn't able to get that against a really good Chatham bullpen.
And we were saying it felt like 9 runs wasn't going to be enough to win this ball game, which is rare. Usually 9 runs will win you the ball game, but today, with the way Chatham was playing offensively, those guys, Blake Sable ended up with 2 hits and 2 RBIs. John Rave had the home run. Spencer Torkelson, certainly the player of the game, being interviewed right now from the Chatham media. He was 4 for 5 today, 3 runs batted in, including the game-tying home run to lead off the 8th inning. Some controversy in this game. Mike Roberts bickering with the umpires throughout, arguing some balls and strikes. Also had a little spat with Tom Holliday, who was getting feisty with the umpires. This game really had it all. And at the end of the day, it was also a very messy game. 7 errors, 4 from Cotuit, and you're not going to win many ball games with 4 errors.
Yeah, messy error, and you really feel for Adam Oviedo, who made a crucial one in the top of the 8th inning that eventually came around to score. That was Greg Jones, who represented the game-winning run. And E4, Oviedo with 2 outs, who was substituted in as a second baseman, a shortstop by trade, to go along with Mike Salvatore for a more defensive-oriented middle infield, and just a routine ground ball that went through the wickets, and that run eventually coming home to score on the RBI single from Arenas. So the Kettleers didn't play their best ball defensively today. Pitching-wise, it was so-so. The offense was there, but Chatham, you give them the credit. They won this game for sure. They took it by the horns, and well-deserved for the A's. I'm sure they're going to celebrate a big road win tonight.
So the winning pitcher in this ball game, actually Zach Knoll, who came on to work the 7th. Losing pitcher, Deacon Metters, and the save credited to Gregory Feliz. Just the 3rd time this season that Chatham has played a game that was just a 1-run game. One of the other 2 was here at Lowell Park, the 4-3 walk-off win in 11 for Cotuit. So both Chatham-Cotuit games at Lowell Park this season have been ones to remember. One for Cotuit, obviously the walk-off, that was a lot of fun. Bo Brundage hitting the home run in the top of the 11th inning. But here, one that Chatham will want to remember for a long time, and one that the Kettleers will not want to remember. 10 runs, 15 hits, 3 errors for Chatham. 9 runs 10 hits, and 4 errors for Cotuit.
I tell you what, the next time and the last time that these two teams get together in the regular season on Monday, that makeup game at Veterans Field, got to be pretty darn good if we get anything like this. Feisty.
I would say
indeed.
feisty, yeah. It'll be a fun game, and we hope you'll join us then. That's at Chatham, 7 o'clock first pitch on Monday at Veterans Field. So with the loss, the Kettleers will drop down to 14, 16, and 3. They came in 4th in the West. They'll stay around that area. With a Bourne win, they would be tied for 4th with the Braves. Chatham improves to 17, 15, and 2. They're still locked in at the second spot in the East. Before we go off air, let's whip it around the Cape. 7-3 win for Brewster today over YD. A shocker at Red Wilson. Wareham pouring it on Bourne, so I don't think we'll have to worry about a Bourne win. It's 7-1 Gatekeepers in the top of the 6th. 2-1 Hyannis winning in the bottom of the 8th against the Orleans Firebirds, and the Harwich Mariners up 2-0 against the Falmouth Commodores in the top of the 6th at White House Field. Any final thoughts from this wild one?
A fun game, I'll say that. This was really fun to be a part of, but unfortunately the Kettleers on the short end of the stick of this comeback by Chatham. You give them a lot of credit, as I've said. They really drove hard to the finish line the entire way, and for the Cotuit Kettleers, you put this one in the rearview mirror. You take the positives away, like the good offense and everybody stepping up and sprinkling in good hits here and there. I thought Seth Schumann was okay today in his 4 innings. The bullpen, unfortunately, unable to keep it held down pat, and an unfortunate result. But, hey, you got a big game on the road at Wareham tomorrow, a team that's had their numbers so far this season. The Kettleers a chance to steal a win before the All-Star break on Sunday. So let's put this one in the rearview mirror and come out and play hard tomorrow. That's all you can do, right?
Next up is the Wareham Gatemen. 6:30 first pitch at Spillane Field. We will have the call live from the other side of the canal. Next up for Chatham, they'll head back home to Veterans Field to take on the East-leading YD Red Sox. So thanks so much. I know this has been a roller coaster. Maybe your emotions have gone up and down throughout this one. So thanks for spending it with us. Hope you have a pleasant Friday night, a great weekend. And for my broadcast partner, Sam Niederman, Mason Horodisky, our director, Bailey Hewson, Robert O'Neill, Max Curran, our broadcast assistants, and Martha Johnston, our producer. I am Sam Brief.